딱히 밀지 않아서 뭐 아직까지 그림 좋죠?
그렇죠.
분광기!
자, 흐름을 한 차례 끊었습니다.
여기서 이제 추가로 분광기를 찍고 공격 타이밍을 잡아야 되는데 그 전제는 이쪽자가 살아가야 됩니다. 네. 그나마 이제 저글링이 더 이상 없다면 퇴로를 확보할 수 있긴 하지만 저글링 추격하에서 이병의 전멸함이 감이 없거든요. 저글링이 이걸 잡아먹으면 분광기를 대동만
지제 리로 이동력 김대엽 선수의 타이밍을 빼앗고 승을 따냈습니다.
그리고 전투방도 안 됐거든요. 오히려 내려가지 않아서
네, 내려와서 이제 밀어버릴 생각. 오.
네, 해병 싸움은 훨씬 더 좋으니까 이거 싸울만 하니까 붙어본 겁니다. 놓쳤어요 이 움직임을.
자, 들어가서 여기서 위치 잡아버리고
꽤 많거든요.
할 수 있는 데미지 줄수 있는 상황입니다. 해병 다수가
이게 탱크가
단호가 지제 얼라이브 한희석 선수 드러낸 후한 선수 공격을 막아내면서 역시 타이밍 경기 끝내버렸습니다.
이 타이밍을 막아야 되거든요. 이 타이밍을 막는다면 또 새로운 기록이
반가마기 쳤어요. 반가마기 강의 매트릭스 하나 걸어줬습니다.
자, 조금만 더 전투하면
네.
황재석 선수 좋은 자리
자,
가져옵니다.
반가마기 전차 모두 잃었어요. 전차 지게로
지게로
못가지
나는 빨간 간다.
트리플 GSL 황규석 선수가 2011년 이후에 8년 만에 8강에 진출합니다.
이게 문제가 뭐냐면
이전순.
이게 만약 저가 테란의 본진을 날렸다 치더라도
와.
테란이 이거 불 끄자마자 차원대학으로 날아가서 저게 본진 장악하면 그냥 끝나요 저그가. 이거죠. 막았다 제가 들면 바로 역곡이거든요.
최신 기술.
와, 끝판 대장을 경기 시작부터 오 정명훈 입장에서 너무나도 기분 좋은 자신이 준비했던 판 그대로.
참 완전 잘 찼네요.
야, 이병헌 선수도 내내 이제 올인 이런 걸 잘 안 하다 보니까 자꾸 당하는 그런 게 상황을 뒤집어 보기 위한 좋은 스윙인 것 맞는데
네.
지제
자, 4전선으로 경기 끝났습니다. 2사 경기 오늘 준비해온 대로 완벽한 경기를 보여주면서 정명훈 선수가 압승을 거뒀어요.
근데 불멸자가 사거리를 바탕으로 화력
네.
뽑아내고 있어요.
그렇죠. 집정관 하나가 지금 버텨주고 있고
이거 막히는 그림이거든요.
네, 추가 변력이 나오곤 있습니다.만 여기 뚫어내지 못하고 있습니다.
네.
돌진광전사랑 집정관의 숫자가 차이가 나죠 확실히.
그렇죠. 공격기까지 오고 있습니다. 아케드가는 집정관 차이 너무 나는데요.
네. 한속에 하나도 변수 주지 못했죠.
밀려요. 공격 병력.
막기 어렵겠는데요.
네. 자, 여기는 아케이드까지 가능하고 하고 3개씩 불멸자.
네, 반대로 김준호 선수.
있어요. 지제 풀세트 접전 끝에 현재로 이득을 많이 보고 시작하는 김준호 선수 4강 진출. 수강하는 집중으로 깹니까?
버티고 있어요.
갔을 때 몇 개는 바로 절반 폭풍은
좀 아픈데요. 프로토스가 지금 업그레이드를 하다가 말아서 시간이 더 필요한데 이렇게 일본 경기가 잃게 되면 그냥 고병 선수를 그대로 쭉 한번 들어갈 만하거든요.
싸우네요.
물론 도루는 뒤에 있긴 하지만 차원 도약이 없고 존슨. 야 그래도 이건 대함대가 보였어요. 네. 거기다 방해 매트릭스 후풍함이 넣어줬고요.
자, 벌어지고 있거든요. 전순이 모함을
언더가 아래. 대기만 한다.
앞차원 나왔어요.
네, 지지만 들어왔다. 인구수 차이 그대로 유지가 되고 있습니다.
아직 경기는 끝나지 않았다.
그렇죠.
시작이다.
지금까지 상황 내가 모든 세트 다 좋았었던 적이 있다는 거죠.
네, 전순으로 찍어 누르고 있습니다. 발행 무너졌습니다. 이기면 끝나는 거예요.
여기서 야마토포로 마무리 나오겠는데. 멀리도
야마토.
못할 것이다.
네, 지제. 할 수 있는 네 번째 세트 대결. 고병재가 드디어 승을 따냈습니다.
예상 못해야 되는데. 이게
봤어요?
테란 입장에서도 이거 아니면 할 게 없어요 지금. 그렇죠. 이걸로 탐사정 6-7개 잡아줘야 되거든요.
하나 치네요. 하나 들고 잡아요.
해병 23개 폭풍 두 방이면 싹 놓거든요.
네, 들어갑니다.
해병이 폭풍.
조목이 목전 두 방.
한 번 더.
하나 더.
방해맨 트리스 맞아서 거기서 못 내리고 있기는 한데.
버텨납니까? 두 방 들어간 상황에 왼쪽으로
그래도
좀 들어가고 있습니다.
그래도 워낙 차이가 많이 나고 이건 조성주가 버텨도 불리한데
네.
버틸 힘이 없죠.
타이밍 기가 막혔지.
화력이 어느 정도 되기 때문에. 와 근데
전사로 폭풍한 원샷 원컷 끌어내면서 세기 박나요.
폭풍만 막으려면 사이클론 말고 없었어요. 근데 그 팀을 무기력하게 만들고 있는 겁니다.
들어간 시나면이 들어가면서 여기 하나 두드리고 있습니다.
영도만이 할 수 있는 그 종족기를 드디어 꺼내 든 거죠.
그렇죠. 종족기 꺼내서
아니.
테란 무너뜨리고 있습니다.
지금 포함도 못 막을 것 같은데 관문 연습은 어떻게 났습니까?
전세로 바깥 터졌어요. GSL!
절대 돌 때 아니에요. 해방선 빨리 와야 돼요. 해방선 소고기 모드 하고 있어도 뚫릴 것 같은데.
위로.
막았어. 이거 막았어요.
위로 더 입구 열렸고 아래.
이거
터지거든요.
폭풍 계속 뚫고 있습니다.
폭풍 다 맞고 2타 들어갑니다. 위로 3타.
다리를
폭풍.
진짜.
고명재를 잡고 드디어 김도우 선수가 이번 시즌 GSL 슈퍼토너먼트 우승을 차지합니다.
If it works, but if it
This looks like something our two-time world champion SOS would try out. So, oh my
so
God,
crazy.
I have never seen this before.
no, nobody has.
How many DTs is he going to make?
There goes the lair.
Oh, going after the layer right now. Right-clicking with so many Dark Templars, and look at this, takes it down in a matter of seconds.
I cannot believe what we're watching. He's going to recall all of these attempts as well.
Now the attack comes in. Classic going for the kill right now with a gigantic army.
Yeah, no time to waste. It's still very scary though. That's a lot of Ravagers, and Rogue's micro is good. I think Rogue is doing this well so far. Rogue wants to keep on running, and Classic just wants to force the fight.
Oh, Rogue has almost nothing left at this point. The bios go down. A good dodge here from Classic as he walks forward, trying to pin these units up against the wall. Rogue running into his natural, almost nothing left over.
All of these Roaches and Ravagers are clumped up. The Archons are getting the best shots off ever. Classic is doing it. What a game, what a series. Wow.
Oh, GG! And that is it. Classic, the win toss.
아프리카 TV 브레이크업 스튜디오 라이브 2020 GSL 시즌 코드 S 쇼다운.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the second half of the round of 4 of the GSL Code S. We had a very exciting best of 7 just a few days ago. Unfortunately, parting unable to take on TY. Of course, I'm very excited to have TY here, but the way parting went out was kind of sad.
Yeah, it was definitely disappointing compared to, I think, what he could have potentially shown us. TY just kind of planned so well for that series and tore him apart in the first 3 games and almost the 4th game. So, yeah, maybe it didn't go the way that Parting had planned, but TY just showing, again, a masterful performance. Yeah, a well-deserved finals.
And, you know, it's kind of crazy because, of course, TY also casting the GSL, so this will be a pretty incredible feat. I think out of any esports tournament for all games of all time to have a caster also possibly win the entire thing. I think you can't be more involved in a tournament or a show than TY has been. So I look forward to seeing what happens in the finals. But first, we have to decide who's going to win with our 2 players today.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very good Terran versus Terran. We have INnoVation, one of the most successful players of all time. He has to be in the running for GOAT. And then we have Kier, who's really coming up strongly, has been for a while, but this year in particular is showing amazing skills.
So here's our bracket. As it's continued to develop, you could see this was one of the best round of 8s you could ever ask for as far as the lineup of players. And it's kind of cool to see that we're not going to have, at least in the recent years of StarCraft 2, any of the usual suspects here in the finals. So INnoVation, I think he's probably the favorite here. If you're a betting man, I think INnoVation's the guy you go for. Cure could come out here and take this, but INnoVation has a very strong history of basically always beating Cure when they play against each other. That being said, Cure is steadily improving. It looks better every season that we see him. INnoVation has been a top-tier player throughout basically all of the eras of StarCraft 2.
Yeah, he's been around for such a long time. Kind of a fun thing we found out as well is that on INnoVation's way to his first championship, he actually beat Kier in the round of 4.
We got a quick interview, and Andy will translate. Andy, go ahead.
All right, we're going to have an interview with the 2 Terran players before diving into the match of today. So who will be TY's opponent in the finals? And both players have made it here in 3 years, in 4 years. Hello, Cure. Hello, INnoVation. First of all, you, Cure. It's your round of 4 in 4 years. This season, you've clearly showed a different side of yours. And these days, you're called Cure of the offline stage. Do you think not having audience affect your gameplay? Well, coming here, I feel like there's definitely some effect. I feel more comfortable. Alright, let's talk with INnoVation. INnoVation, it's your 6th GSL finals, but you made it here in 3 years. So are you nervous at all? Well, I don't really get nervous that much. But today, I'm slightly nervous. Yes, I am. And it feels like Cure is not nervous at all. So that's gonna be quite dangerous for you, INnoVation. And 6 years ago, Cure and INnoVation actually played against each other. And during that, it was INnoVation taking the win after a full best of 7. So how do you expect today's games? Well, first of all, my mindset is to always win. So it's either win easily or win hardly. I think I'm gonna win easily though. Wow, big confidence there, INnoVation. Cure, on the other hand, beat all his nemesis and made it here in the round of 4. But still, you've never beat INnoVation in a match. So it's not gonna be an easy one for sure. How did you prepare? I mean, INnoVation is a player that everyone knows is good. So I want to beat him and, you know, get respected as a player. And INnoVation is a person with amazing basics of the game. So I'm not gonna play standard today. Okay, I guess that provides us with a hint of today's match. So I guess both players made thorough preparation for this upcoming match. And both players have been committed on being better at strategizing. So do you guys want to compliment each other on one thing? Just one thing. Well, INnoVation, you know, plays like a machine. He has really good basics. And what about you, INnoVation? Any compliments for Cure? Well, Cure plays well in standard play, but since he's not going to play standard today, I guess that might make me easy for me. So, INnoVation. So is that the only thing you can compliment on? Well, Cure overall is an all-round player. He's good at everything. So 6 years ago they met and it was INnoVation taking the win. Will it be a repetition of history or will things change this time? So anything you want to say to each other before you go?
결승 연습 좀 도와주려.
help me get into the finals.
벌써부터
Thank you, Cure.
연습을 도와달라고 하시는데요. 자, 화답해 주시죠.
And Cure?
6년 전에는
6 years ago,
제가 준비를 그렇게 최선을 다 안 했는데
I couldn't make good preparation, but for today, I made thorough preparation.
재밌게
So I'll try to have
하도록 하겠습니다.
an exciting match today.
김도욱 선수가 아주 태평양 같은 마음을 가지신 것 같습니다. 자, 과연 오늘 어떤
Okay,
결과가
let's
나오게
see
될까요?
which
2020
turn player
GSL
moves on to the
4강
finals to
경기
play against TY.
시작하겠습니다.
Hell yes, let's do it. We got a quick video, and then we're gonna hop into our match.
Everybody's got to believe in something.
김도욱 그러면 막아내면서 일단내고 4년 만에 4강 진출이 이뤄냅니다.
What a story this will be if Cure can overcome INnoVation. I mean, INnoVation just absolutely, completely dominant historically, but does that history really matter that much now?
But also, what a story would be if INnoVation overwhelms Cure and makes it into his 5th finals, tying him with MVP for the second most finals in GSL Code S history, of course, behind Sue, the man with no championships.
That's right. Sue, having been in 6 finals in GSL, is the front runner, but INnoVation is beginning to catch up, especially if he comes out on top here today. And I think most people would agree that INnoVation is the favorite. Cure might have some incredible plans coming in here, and maybe he can pull it off at a best of 7, but to overcome odds like this is pretty incredible. It's not just the record of the 2 players, it's the fact that INnoVation is so accomplished. INnoVation has so much experience in general in these types of settings, where for Cure, if he can break through this membrane and get to the finals, it's a huge moment in his entire career. His career's basically been leading up to this entire moment if he can succeed and actually do what has not been done with him before.
Well, I am looking forward to this. TBT between these two should be pretty epic. I don't know if I fully believe Cure that he's going to play non-standard throughout it. He does play a very strong standard Terran versus Terran. As we saw there, he actually beat TY, the other finalists, and INnoVation beat Maru. So, I mean, these are basically, at this moment, probably the top 4-ish Terrans in the world. Obviously, you know, TY, Maru, INnoVation goes kind of without saying, right, through the 4 horsemen, the ones not in the military. And then we have Cure, who is kind of taking the place of Gumiho here as that Terran that's knocking on the door.
That's right, he's filled that void in here. We're going to start this off on the map, Golden Wall. I'm very curious to see what a game like these two is going to look like. We'll be unpacking Golden Wall as it loads up here, or I guess when we hop into the game. But again, this is a best of 7. The winner of this series goes on to the finals of the GSL Code S to face off against TY.
전투 준비 완료. 드래곤 피닉스 게임 큐어 김도.
He's already mining out the minerals.
Yeah.
카이지 게이밍 이노베이션 20년.
So this map is cut almost in half. There's a lower third that you can get to, and then the upper third is already opened up. Upper 2/3, I should say, is already opened up. There are golden minerals that actually cut the 2 platforms in half, hence the name Golden Wall. But right away, and this is unusual, we don't see openings like this. I think we've never casted a game like this on this map. But immediately, Cure is mining out the minerals that block him off the lower platform. Yeah. So it seems like he wants to get down there right away, maybe build something down there, or at least push down there.
Yeah.
Maybe even expand, I don't know.
It's really hard to say what his plan is here. But I'm very excited to see, because he started mining there like at the same time he took his gas, basically.
Kind of crazy.
Very, very, very quick.
Now, the wall-in for Cure has been set up, so INnoVation will not be able to scout this, and it looks like, is this just going to be a quick expand down there? Okay, so basically, on the surface, this might look like it is Cure rushing into some really quick tech and trying to be aggressive, when in fact, Cure has set up a pretty sneaky quick expand here on the lower platform.
Yeah, and that's obviously going to make him really, really safe. You're not going to try to break through his depots or something, right? You don't know what's back there. You're probably going to play slightly more defensively here as INnoVation. So a very interesting opening from Cure, and I really wonder where he's going to go from here.
Now, INnoVation is actually going for one base play, so the opportunity to be aggressive could end up punishing Cure anyways, although usually when you see aggressive builds come out here from a Terran player against a player who's fast expanding, normally it's the expansion that gets hit first. Where in this case, Cure is actually expanding to a fairly safe location. I mean, you can't get immediate access unless, of course, you drop. You can't get immediate access to that area over there.
Yeah, well, he's getting a starport, so he's going for Banshee and Cloak. So this has some potential to find that base very quickly, first off, because the direction he'll likely fly in. And so I feel like it's a totally reasonable opener for INnoVation that's going to give him some options here.
I think you're probably right. There's also a hidden starport being made by Cure down here in the bottom right. I would actually imagine that's probably for Banshees as well.
Yeah, it might be. It might be. It looks like he's actually making some Hellions now, so we could see a medevac as well. Yeah, there's the medevac. So it looks like he wants to get a Hellion drop off right off the bat. But if the Banshee's flying through there and sees the Hellions coming through the back, it's not like there's some sort of mystery. Where are they going?
Yeah, how'd they get there?
Yeah, look at this. He
Are
might
they gonna
see
pass
it.
each
He
other?
might.
Ooh,
oh my god!
Wow, really?
Yeah,
that was so close.
Super fortuitous. But hold on, he is going to run these two under the Banshee. So as long as INnoVation saw that, he should know what's coming.
Do you still want to commit with the Banshee over here, or do you want to try to send this back to defend?
Oh yeah, I think you commit with it 100%. Like, you have so much potential here to kill a huge amount of workers. Okay, the Hellion's actually dropping out, so it seems like INnoVation didn't quite realize what was going on. But both of them really looking to massacre each other's mineral lines.
Yeah, the next few seconds are going to be critical, because we got to see how many workers are actually going to be killed off here, specifically with the Hellions. He's so far doing a pretty good job of rotating these in a circle to try to avoid taking too much damage. The medevac has been shot down, however.
Look at this. He's actually going to kill the Cyclone. Beautiful, quick decision-making right there. And it feels like INnoVation has kind of out-microed a little bit. He targeted down the medevac. He's been running SCVs reasonably well. Yeah, there's more SCVs that died on INnoVation's side so far, but the Banshees are still around.
This is kind of crazy here. Both sides are taking so many hits at once.
Yeah.
It is 12 workers for Cure, now 11. Excuse me, 22. I'm looking at the Army supply here. 22 workers here for Cure. So they're both fairly even right now. But yeah, I mean, this has been just a bloodbath to start things off. A lot of damage taken here on both sides.
Maybe a little bit more wasteful with that second Banshee.
Yeah. There's a third coming across the map now.
Yeah, and this is kind of why I'm actually liking INnoVation's position, right? Like, he's just continually sending Banshees back here. This has to be hard to stop.
Yeah, also I think INnoVation has a lot more opportunities to follow this up, right? I mean, with the Banshees, basically Cure can't really leave his territory, right? The moment he tries to counterattack, the Banshees just dive in. Even with a turret placed here, you can go around the edges of the minerals and just pick off whatever you can.
Look at that, he's trying to get it out of range and does succeed in doing so, but an offensive Raven over here from Cure throwing down a turret. These guys just hurting each other left and right.
I love just going right after the Cyclone there. It's just it's a smart move because the Cyclone actually does die pretty quickly to a Banshee. It's just that you know, if it doesn't have vision, it can't fire back, and that means the Banshee can get the upper hand. And again, you know, INnoVation even still now making Banshees, and here comes the attack I was talking about. So while Cure is scrambling to try to get defense up to keep his worker count alive and going, and by the way, they're still very even with workers, but the army supply here for INnoVation is so much bigger. And this is where this big attack is going to come in here. And I'm not sure if Cure is going to be able to survive the next push that's coming here.
But Cure is keeping the pressure on as well. Throws down another auto turret as he does eliminate that Banshee. Going to get a few more SCVs, cost some mining time and all that. And INnoVation actually deciding to go behind the golden wall here, not going to attack the front. You know what? He's going to get on top of that, and nothing's going to be in position, if you ask me.
No, I think you're completely right. I think that the attack coming in here from INnoVation might be a fatal blow here for Cure.
Yeah, you see this, the Banshee coming in as well. So what do you do? Do you draw your whole army down here and let the Banshee kill everything, or do you stay up there and defend the Banshee and let this army destroy your expansion?
I actually think INnoVation can push that. Am I wrong about this?
I think he can. Well, he's got a couple Ravens, right?
Yeah, maybe auto turrets could be a real threat.
Yeah, auto turrets, definitely.
Okay, one Raven goes down. The tank now goes down, and I think from here it's a fairly easy game of kiting. Keep in mind that this Banshee that comes in now, oh my gosh, Vikings coming here as well. This is just possibly too much damage.
The auto turret plus the SCV is actually pushing the siege tanks back for now. In fact, another Cyclone pops out. Cyclone's so strong in these positions against small amounts of units.
The worker count is now 25 to 39, giving INnoVation a substantial lead. Although the push has been, you know, basically denied, it wasn't without the loss of so many workers here. It's pretty incredible how much damage these auto turrets are doing.
Yeah.
You know, considering.
This has just been an absolute brawl through and through.
Yeah, great game to start things off.
There's another auto turret going to come. Looks like with the Vikings coming, finally these Ravens are going to be pushed back.
Yeah, and getting rid of these Ravens is really important here because the auto turrets, you know, of course you can run away from them, but they actually do so much damage that they're going to kill off at least 2 workers before anything can get away.
Generally, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. He's going to land this, and then the Raven's going to fly away because they're not airborne. Oh, get him!
Good move. I like that. Forces them to actually turn around and not chase it down. Okay. Okay, now the game is starting to normalize a little bit, right?
That's right. INnoVation, though, does still have a pretty substantial lead. We do have Cure actually pushing through the bottom here. This is pretty ambitious, though. I mean, to try to push onto the high ground. You know, INnoVation took the more common expansion here. I don't know. Can he actually get through here?
Is he able to actually do anything?
I don't know.
Well, he did mine out the minerals.
Oh, I see INnoVation actually has plans to expand over here.
INnoVation a little bit off there with his control, missing a full volley up from his Vikings onto that Raven. Definitely an important thing that he needs to do, keep that Raven back. Okay, looks like Cure is going to turn around. INnoVation wanting to mine from down here, but has to take his time.
Another command center is placed over here.
Are we going to have a TVT that's played on the bottom part of this map?
I dig it, man. This is very cool.
It looks that way, right?
Okay, sieging up, but it's just a little bit late here.
Ooh, that auto turret, just beautiful. Cure going to be able to disable everything here.
Okay, that was a huge victory for Cure there, taking out all 3 of those tanks and keeping the bulk of his infantry alive during this. Now, if Cure tries to push any further forward here, he's going to be hitting all of the main infrastructure, which is actually more important than even the expansions in a situation like this.
He has so much comparatively. Look at this. 3 Marines on the high ground, 1 siege tank comes in.
This seems like it was a game that INnoVation was winning until he did not handle that fight on the low ground very well.
Yeah. Well, he's going to land his Vikings, and they're actually doing some serious work here. Look at this. Those 2 Vikings being the saviors of this game, perhaps.
Well, I mean, the push continues on over here. And, you know, right now, Cure has now completely reversed the worker advantage. Now he's at 51 to the 38 of INnoVation. Of course, Cure's base is about to finish over here at the gold as well, which is only going to increase his momentum in this game. By the way, we have INnoVation taking that command center that was intended to be at the very bottom of the map, and it's now going to go over to the upper right.
It almost feels like INnoVation just needs to set up a little bit of a siege line in his main and just ignore the back of the map. But
yeah,
it feels like Cure has really gained a gigantic advantage at this point.
I'll tell you, man, Cure is really bringing it in this series so far. I know we're early on here, and it's just game one, but considering what INnoVation was able to do and the fact that Cure was able to eventually come out ahead through all of this hardship is pretty crazy.
Well, that one attack, like you said, where INnoVation brought his tanks to the low ground there, and Cure just destroyed everything. He had a beautifully placed auto turret. He just had enough to bust the 3 tanks of INnoVation, the few Marines he had. That feels like the moment that everything went south for INnoVation, right? From there, he had to spend so many SCVs hold on. He had to land all his Vikings and sacrifice them just to stay alive. So he went from a position of power to this position that he's in now, where he's expanding in a direction he didn't want to go in. He's kind of on the back foot.
It is curious to see, like, how is this game going to develop from here? There's a lot more area over here in the upper side of the map than the smaller lower side, but I mean, with Cure already taking the gold, and I don't see any opportunities here for INnoVation to try to push and contest that. You know, taking the gold can be hard because they can always attack it on the other side, and there's not much, especially with your infantry, that you can do to really help fight that. But I think with the momentum that Cure already has, I think he's in great shape this time around here. Now, we have these 4 medevacs loaded up, mostly with infantry, but it looks like there's at least 3 tanks in there as well. If he can get in here and, again, get in the main, get on top of production, that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Fortunately for INnoVation, he does have units out here to spot.
Yeah, I think he has enough that he shouldn't break too easily. He's even got a couple siege tanks there on the high ground. But this is a tough situation, right? Like, Cure is mining so much from the back of the map, and just being forward and aggressive is securing those expansions. But nothing is actually going to stop him from expanding to the north.
Yeah, I think Cure is making the right decision here to not push any further into the main. I think that that's a lost cause. And instead, he's going to have to try to start taking on expansions here. It is a funny situation on this map, though. Now that the bottom side is opened up for both players, there's a lot more areas to push, and you don't have the same type of mobility you have on other maps as a Terran player, you know? If your army is over there on the bottom platform, the only way to then push the top platform is to actually pick up and relocate. So you're really going to have to commit to wherever your army is actually moving on the ground.
Now Cure is split up into 2 different armies. Let's see if he can get INnoVation to split his units incorrectly here. This big army is moving towards some of INnoVation's expansions.
And right now, Cure is just looking for any soft spot, any location he can push in and just really deal some heavy damage.
They have equal Marine upgrades. Everything is evening out a little bit here, but definitely if you just kind of look at the map, you can tell that Cure has that advantage still.
So, I think we're actually going to have a drop over in the corner of the main. The medevacs are just skirting the very edge of the map here. And it looks like with this blind spot over here, they're going to probably get a full unload.
Well, I don't know if that's going to work out so well. Marines at the ready, SCVs swarming, and he is going to clean that up. Cure with some aggression that might not have been needed.
Yeah, I thought that was going to go much better for Cure because he managed to circumvent the defenses, but instead it was completely shut down. Meanwhile, we have Cure attacking it over here where INnoVation is. And, I mean, they both traded blows there, but I don't know that Cure's gotten a superior position here just yet. That being said, the third base up there with the additional command center is sort of marooned up there, but he hasn't actually managed to take it out yet. He hasn't killed workers. He hasn't forced a CC to lift, anything like that. And INnoVation, I think, is being pretty crafty with how he's setting up his defensive position, just tucking those 2 tanks into that little corner there.
He's definitely doing a good job with that, and the fact that he has those Vikings helping as well. But the drop on top of the siege tank here, very rough. INnoVation going to answer with Marines of his own. Loses the siege tank and slows himself down a little bit, but INnoVation still holding on.
Okay, right now Cure is just trying his best to break this position. If INnoVation loses the third base, he'll lose the game, but if Cure overextends too much here, it's going to be the same story as well.
Well, Cure just has so much army flowing through this top part of the map. INnoVation definitely needs to bring more units up if he's going to hold on.
Oh, how funny. That command center never finished building. And now he just now finishes it, maybe just in time for it to get shot down in this attack. Okay, this, I believe, might be the killing blow here. INnoVation was doing a pretty incredible job hanging on for as long as he did. But ultimately, Kier's gold base and the other expansion he has have paid off.
Well, INnoVation trying to bust through here, but you can see just how cost inefficient it is. He's lost his economy, he's lost command centers, most of his siege tanks are gone, most of his marines are gone, and Kier is just moments from taking this game.
Yeah, and again, Kier is someone who never defeated INnoVation in tournament play in GSL, now is taking game 1 in an incredible fashion, and could be going to the finals if he can keep it up. I mean, this was a game that definitely somebody didn't just lose to a build order or get cheesed or anything like that. This was a back and forth game.
Yeah.
It was an uphill fight for Kier, especially in the early parts of the game, and he basically succeeded in doing so, outmaneuvering INnoVation. Even with the failed drop in the main, Kier just had so much he was actually able to take those risks. We do have INnoVation in one final attempt here to try to secure this third base. Keep in mind, this is going to be the only mining location really that INnoVation will have any control over. It does seem mathematically that Kier can just macro up, reassemble his army, and probably squash this.
Well, I think INnoVation's plan is to try to make him as cost inefficient as possible, but I don't really see that occurring at this point. INnoVation actually zipping across the map. Let's see if he gets something done, but Kier's army is moving in on him, and he has nothing to stop it.
We can see Kier actually attacking into the main here. A drop over at the gold base would be too late now, as it's already basically been mined out. Okay, and so now we have Kier coming in here for the killing blow, entering the heart of the base. SCVs and Marines are going to try to fight this smaller attack off over here, but again, the damage is snowballing too quickly here on the side of Kier. He's just dominating INnoVation.
Yeah, INnoVation's drop, it's doing a lot, but he has nothing left at home. There's not going to be any way for him to clear this army, to rebuild, to do anything from here.
Yeah, the 9 Marines and tanks over there is not going to be enough to save the day. And there's just too many bases here for Kier. Too much income, too much money, too much supply of everything.
Yeah, there's just no way for him to do it right. Even if he could set up his units in a very cost-efficient way, like, he can't kill everything in time before Kier can get back. Yeah, look at that, double planetary even. So Kier is just, he's sealed up tight.
It does show you how strong INnoVation is, though. This little scrappy army is still taking Kier to task here.
Honestly, like, Kier has won this game at this point, as INnoVation will soon find out. But watching this first game and watching Kier win it, I actually feel even a little bit more now that INnoVation is going to win the series.
Yeah, he looks very scary.
He had that one gigantic blunder, but made so many good moves that here we are still.
So this should be the GG moment. Here we go. Kier takes game number 1, undoing the past.
Undoing the past.
Can he keep this momentum going, though? One thing that's reassuring if you're rooting for Kier here is that he won that in a very technical fashion. This wasn't a game where 2 build orders interact in such a way that one player has elected one that just ends up beating the other. That was a very mechanical and demanding game for Kier. He had a lot of tough calls to make. He was actually behind in the I want to say early third of that game. And fought back hard and ended up winning.
Yeah, but let's not forget, INnoVation did make a pretty drastic error with his siege tanks in the very early mid-game.
Very true.
And I think that's quite clearly what gave Kier the lead that he was able to continue forward with. So an interesting first game. Definitely still anyone's series.
Map 2 will be on Eternal Empire. And I think we've got ourselves a great series here. INnoVation looking solid, but Kier clearly can hold his own against him. Mistakes are made on both sides. It was a real slugfest of a game. So now let's see if INnoVation can even it out or if Kier will then take a 2-0 lead. This is game 2. Let's go.
전투 준비 완료. 드래곤 피닉스 게이밍 큐어 김도. 카이지 게이밍 인노베이션 이신영.
So gas first, Rax first. Let's see where these guys go from here. Ah, double gas from INnoVation. So going to continue on that one-base tech route. Eternal Empire generally gives us the big epic games. You know, one of my favorite series from Katowice this year was definitely Kier TY. And this map, oh my gosh, they had such a slugfest. Would love to see something like that here.
I got to point out something that is pretty trippy. Are you ready?
Okay, please.
So we're guaranteed at TBT finals. TY is obviously in the finals already. He's also casting. So if I'm the winner of this, I'm going to go back and watch TY's cast and see what his opinion is on all the strats that are going on and his TVT analysis, right?
I would be lying about everything if I were TY.
Yeah,
But this is a great strat. Yeah. He should do this against
I feel like the best strat is 4 CCs right away. Oh, but I mean, think about that, because like him as a commentator, he's just giving his insight as a player, essentially. Yeah. And so, like, all of this information in a matchup that you're going to be going into, and that's I wonder if that somehow favors whoever wins this series.
Well, that would be some help, but TY getting to watch both players play their best TVT against each other definitely favors him more.
That's an interesting point as well, yeah. I just wonder. I wonder if, like, there's a... Because I don't know exactly how TY casts, but, like, if he says, for instance, oh, Terrans should never do this, or a lot of Terrans are doing this style, I don't think it really works, I don't like it, you know.
He probably, from my understanding of what commentary is, he probably talks about mouthfeel and Battletoads most of the time.
He's probably talking about his favorite Super Nintendo games and how he didn't do well in school. And
yeah.
So, yeah, this is going to be a cool finals, no matter what. So we've got the 2 Reapers coming up now to put a little bit of pressure on here. They're not going to get inside, but they basically see the tech that's going on here.
Yeah, they saw the timing of the command center as well, so that's definitely helpful. INnoVation, getting his Cyclone upgrade. Let's see what he does with this.
Yeah, INnoVation's going to come in here with a pretty interesting approach. Kier seems to be opening up with one of the more standard openings you see in TVT. Tacking up, getting the factory, the starport, and the command center. And you're basically finishing up all your tech structures.
And look at that, a second factory here from INnoVation, so very likely going to be mech out of him. I feel like I remember a couple builds that we've seen where it opened up with extra factories but did get into bio. But yeah, I would guess that this is going to be a straight mech build, and I'm very excited just to kind of see what this plan is. Like, how's he doing this one, right? Like, he's about to have mag field. He's getting a lot of Cyclones. Look at that, 2 Cyclones at a time.
Yeah, is he going to come in here and hit pretty hard? Cyclones are funny units because...
Yeah.
You know, let's take, like, Stim Marines, right? Fighting other Marines. I mean, there's definitely a trade-off, you know, and a lot of it comes down to angles. But Cyclones, if you get the right angle and can hit them and kite or pursue, depending, you just take fights.
Yeah, Cyclones are, like, they're one of the easiest things to micro in the game. Yep. And they're like, I've always said this about the Cyclone, and it's actually one of the reasons I don't really like the Cyclone. It's very much a yes-no unit.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to it. It's like, do you have what you need to stop this? Oh, you do? Okay. Oh, you don't? Okay. You know, not every situation is like that. Like, I think Battle Mech doesn't quite play out like that against Zerg necessarily, but yeah, I just... All right, nice kill. But yeah, it just kind of makes this into a strange situation like that, right?
Dude.
Yeah.
The value Kier is getting out of this, I mean, that Cyclone can just be repaired.
Banshee speed. That's interesting, isn't it?
I was not expecting that at this part of the game.
No, I was certainly not expecting that.
Is this a reaction to him seeing the Cyclone?
Are they both going mech? Kira's going mech.
Oh, wow, we're going to actually have a mech versus mech game.
Yeah, like a Banshee mech against a regular mech. Oh, this is so cool. Well, this series is already going to be longer than our last one.
So mech is always the alternative unit composition to the bio play. Mech's style is as old as StarCraft is. All the way going back to StarCraft 1, there was always a debate over what kind of unit compositions do you want, you know? And it turns out, for instance, in StarCraft 1, you want to go mech against Protoss. You don't want to go bio at all. It's just an inferior unit comp. In StarCraft 2, it can be much more up in the air depending. Bio seems to be the more favored approach, but mech is doable.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're playing against mech, it requires a completely different set of skills and knowledge. So some players are better against mech than others. And it's always a fun thing to see who's going to go mech. And then you get in a situation like this where it's mech versus mech with air support here.
Which is going to be even less practiced for most of these guys.
Yeah, we're getting into some pretty abstract games here.
Yeah, mech is more rare than regular bio tank. And then it's, obviously that makes it even more rare to have both players go for it. So it's going to be like a Banshee-based mech against a Cyclone-based mech to start at least. Seems to me that INnoVation doing a pretty good job so far. He's gotten a lot of SCV kills with those Liberators. Still roaming about a bit.
As long as the Cyclones can get the right angles where they're not under that targeted area. Oh, I actually got it. Wow. Then you can take out those Liberators pretty easily. So now we have enough Banshees out with speed. It's very hard to catch up to these units. But we need to see how much damage they're actually going to deal as well. It's a big investment getting that many Banshees and the speed upgrade. You have to make sure they pay for themselves. We've got armories thrown down on both sides. It does look like INnoVation is in a slight upgrade lead. That'll matter the moment the upgrades finish. If they take a fight and you have 1-1 and they don't, or you have 2-2 and they have 1-1, it's a huge difference.
You know, with mech versus mech, the upgrades, they don't have breakpoints like they do in StarCraft 1, where it's a massive change. Obviously, it makes a difference. But, like, I would say that out of all matchups you have, like Marine versus Marine, if you're up 2 upgrades, you can't lose, you know? Your Marines live longer and they kill quicker. With mech versus mech, like especially Seachank versus Seachank, it's not quite like that. But obviously, you're always going to want those upgrades.
See the Cyclones chasing these away now. Again, they haven't really done enough damage.
They haven't really done anything, right? Like, they have few SCVs, but it's a...
It is also a tactical pin, though. Like, they can't leave too much, but I don't know if that's worth it.
You can, like...
You don't really
get a
have to leave, though.
Lib. Yeah, you're playing mech anyways.
Yeah, it's like, fine, you know.
Yeah.
You weren't thinking, oh, damn, I'm going to push out with my 110 supply mech army and win now, except that your Banshees are here.
Yeah.
So I don't know about... the circumstances here for Cure. I think Cure might have teched into this, assuming it was not mech.
Yeah,
and then it's trying to, you know, make do with what he's got. And I think overall, this is probably maybe a little bit better here for INnoVation. INnoVation, you know, some of the same ideas are true with the Cyclones as well, is that you can basically pin them, but I think a little bit more cost efficient here.
A Fusion Core is coming up for Cure. Endgame of mech can turn into BCs. It is certainly a possibility, and especially on this map, I think it's likely you're going to get into a very big endgame in mech versus mech. So I wonder if that's what we're going to be seeing. INnoVation's continuing to add on factories, so it seems like he is going to just macro, macro, macro. Whereas you see that air attack that Kier just started, in my opinion, strategically, this is a much better play.
Oh my God. He is barely not going to lose that last Banshee. Now we have another Cyclone attack coming in here. Now nobody's targeting. The tanks are such ripe targets. Basically, a lot of mech can come down to how many of your opponent's tanks did you kill throughout the game, because the tank is the best mech unit. The other mech units around it need to support it, but when you get siege mode up and you have something protecting that tank, I mean, the tank is basically the great Terran unit in so many circumstances, you know. Its range is so incredible, and if you know, you can end up hitting something and they have to attack into you to fight back, it's very good.
So siege tanks get it up on top of this planetary. Very, very annoying. Kira is not really in position to defend against this well. And I love this type of move. You know, it's just, it's so hard to deal with as Kira to clean that.
Yeah.
Especially with mech. Like, it's a small mech group, so if you had bio, for instance, you could make a big arc and just kind of stim in there and kill it off. But here it's like, okay, do you walk your siege tanks forward? That's going to be messy.
And just hitting the command center. Of course, the planetary you don't want to get right on top of. It does too much damage.
Definitely dealing a lot of damage to it right now.
Is he not going to repair that in time? I didn't see many SCVs down there.
I think he'll save it. I think he.
Oh yeah,
maybe he's waiting for those BCs. He does have BCs popping out right now.
Okay, he's going to come down here and wipe this little force out. Oh my God, he got the CC though.
He did get it. Look
How
at that.
funny.
Well, he built another CC nearby, so maybe he'll just float that over.
Yeah, but that really slows down the income here for Cure. I mean, that's one of those things that, I mean, that's his fault for losing that, you know?
This is such an interesting game. Like, INnoVation right now, he's on Cyclones and Hellions, so he's kind of going Battle Mech into Sky Terran.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I don't recall seeing this. Normally what it would be Siege Tanks mainly into Sky Terran.
Well, we don't get to see.
But he's being so mobile with this. And the thing is, it kind of works against what Cure is doing, right? Cure went up to BCs very quickly, and that's not going to pair well against this. See? That thing almost died. That's crazy.
Yeah, we don't get to cast mech versus mech very often. I don't know about the BCs, though, man.
Well, I think that BCs are an amazing endgame.
Sure.
They are. And Sky Terran does beat Ground Terran eventually, right? It's very similar to StarCraft 1 TVT in that regard. But how you get there does matter, I would say. Now, there's a huge BC advantage right now for Cure. But is that going to matter when INnoVation kind of has more of the map? He has more map control. He's able to do things like make a bunch of Vikings. So it feels like he should be able to trade reasonably well, because basically Cure is, like, his back is up against the wall. He needs to get out there and get more expansions, but he's not very mobile. He's very slow and very strong, whereas INnoVation has control right now.
Yeah, I think this critical point where INnoVation can do a power grab and take even more of the map is very important. He also has enough supply that he can start to try to trade in with this.
Yeah, look at this. So he runs up, takes a bunch of hits with the Hellions, sets up his Liberators, and now is trying to push back the Siege Tank so his Cyclones can come up and fight. That was pretty cost inefficient from INnoVation, I would say. It was not like the perfect... I see what the idea is here, but it did not seem perfectly done.
There's a lot of minerals banked up here for Cure. He was actually over 2K just a little bit ago. The funny thing about when you're going mech versus mech is you can get Hellions. They're not that great, but sometimes we have what's called a mineral dump, where you just have to spend your money on something. And by the way, another big attack coming in here. And it seems like each and every time there's just enough BCs to drive this away. But I think INnoVation's goal here is to try to keep this number low overall. But are we even really seeing battlecruisers get killed off at any high numbers? It seems like they just jump away and then you repair it. And obviously that's a trade that's going to be much better for Cure.
Well, we've seen a few die. And it should be noted that with the mag field, this many Cyclones will actually kill a BC so quickly if enough lock on that it won't be able to jump away. But what we're seeing is Cure is sitting in a very defensive posture where he's got Siege Tanks underneath the BCs. So the Cyclones are getting murdered every time they try to run in there. So I feel like what we're seeing here is INnoVation is pushing a little bit too aggressively. But at the same time, you have to be a little bit nervous about your opponent that's already started on that endgame tech.
So we have another attack gearing up. We see INnoVation, again, with superior bases for now. He's able to throw more into Cure. The battlecruisers, you know, they're not very quick units, but it looks like the positions, the two expansions at 6 o'clock are going to be easy to defend for them in both of those spots. And now we have the Cyclones rotating again here. Now, Cure is not expanding at an insane rate here. So there's actually not a lot of opportunities to hit different places here.
Yeah.
But it looks like Cure may try anyways, come up here.
I think that all that Cure really needs to do is very slowly but surely take the 2 bottom right bases. That's it. Like, because he went BCs so quickly and he's not doing anything that's really cost inefficient, that allows him to take his bases a little bit more slowly than INnoVation, who's really sucking down these minerals and gas to try to fuel this army that he's trying to be very aggressive with.
I love the usage of these Liberators here to pop over these tanks and just gun them down, and then to use the Cyclones to try to target the BCs. This is actually one of the most unique TVTs we've ever been able to cast ourselves.
Yeah.
We just don't get games like this.
No, we certainly do not.
Again, more BCs are being taken out, and you were totally right, man. When you get enough of those Cyclones targeting a BC, there's no input that you can do to get them out fast enough. You can't fly away quick enough. You can't warp quick enough.
So this is a war of compositions right now. We have Liberators to try to take out siege tanks so that Cyclones can lock on to BCs. Then we have siege tanks trying to zone out the Cyclones so that the BCs can beat everything else. And obviously there's like this kind of other role of Vikings in there. If there become too many Vikings, then you're going to want to mix Thors in. We just saw some Thors being made. You can actually make Thors against everything a little bit here too.
My God. CC goes down, by the way. And the Cyclones just escaped. They're such quick units. And you were totally right to what you were saying, where if there's too many Vikings, suddenly Thors become really important. And it's this very odd balancing act on both sides, where you're trying to get the units that counter their units, and they're trying to get the units that counter your units. And a lot of times it's this cyclical motion on both sides. And for instance, now we have a lot of Ravens out here. By the way, again, in this game, both these guys with completely different unit compositions.
Yeah.
Like right now there are
they're both going,
tank. There's one tank, excuse me, for INnoVation.
They're both going like Mech and Sky Terran at the same time, but with exactly opposite units.
Yeah, it's very cool to see.
Yeah, it's very, very, very different. But again, like, Curious trying to get the best stuff, but I like the way INnoVation's approaching this in a lot of ways. Look at this. He's going to be able to disable so many BCs.
Oh, my God.
And then the BCs can be taken out very quickly.
And now he can walk in on these tanks here. I don't think a single tank's going to get a shot off. No, they're all just destroyed basically for free.
Now that's efficient. We've seen a lot of inefficient moves from INnoVation, but that was something else.
Well, that was basically, he got everything for free. And I think he can actually keep doing it. There's enough Ravens.
As long as he has mana.
Yeah.
If you disable the tanks, your army absolutely destroys. The tanks and the BCs have to work together.
Oh, man, now these Thors are approaching in here. Good disables here. Doesn't look like he has any more, but yeah, you can disable before Yamato comes out.
Yeah.
And just mute that ability.
And you disable the tanks so your army isn't getting pelted. And look at that. He pushed him back once again. INnoVation continuing to expand. So he's got every base on his half. Kier does not have every base on his half, but again, that is not necessarily the most important thing. The important thing is that INnoVation doesn't get them, right? You can take the game very slowly if you're using Yamato and siege tanks.
It seems like Kier is hard locking himself out of development here. He's just remaking the battle cruisers.
Yeah, he's just trying to make this very efficient composition. I would like to see him add just a little tiny bit more in than what he has.
I agree. There's going to be another attack coming down here. What I'm noticing with this is that it does appear that INnoVation has the ability to actually move in on positions. And, I mean, for instance, Kira's going to attack that top location, but again, then there's nothing to defend over here. And, you know, when you disable all of these tanks, well, hold on. Is he going to actually be able to get up here and kill these tanks?
So many tanks coming in, man. Like, I guess he gets some of the SCVs and stuff. He uses so many disables. At the end of the day, the mobility of these BCs that can jump away actually came out on top there.
Thors need to be able to jump too, just like the BCs. What do you think?
Absolutely. We should just have every unit able to jump.
Yeah.
That's
anything that's mechanical.
Ooh, just gets that one out in time.
Well, Kier is keeping this smaller foothold on the map that he has, but I think now, as Kier is close to maxing out, he wants to take a fight, and there's going to be some kind of an engagement here. It doesn't seem like, especially after all the Raven spells that were cast, I don't think there's enough disables to make it doable to fight these tanks here.
Yeah, you gotta wait a bit, right? That's a big part of it. Also, let's not forget Yamato's on a big cooldown, and so is Tactical Jump. So there's a lot of different cooldowns that we're waiting for mana to recharge and all that as well, to try to have these perfectly efficient fights, which is, it's awesome. They're both like trying to have perfectly efficient fights with completely different unit compositions.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And none of them are perfectly efficient because they're both fighting each other in that way.
Now, the BCs and the tanks, it's weird to say, are literally less mobile than even Thor's moving around.
Yeah.
And so you're actually having like a Thor counterattack.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's very true, though. INnoVation has gone for a very mobile set of units, and Kier is doing the very slow set of units. Look, that sets up a single Liberator saying you cannot repair that anymore.
Do not try to repair that.
These Liberators are killers. That's amazing. You see that?
Yeah.
He's like got one on the left pushing back tanks. He's got one on the right stopping SCVs from repairing the planetary.
Dude, 3-3 is about to finish here. And now we have, again, INnoVation trying to push in wherever there is no presence here for Cure. Is he going to try to take this fight?
Well, he's going to disable absolutely everything. Look at how much mana he has on these Ravens. Just madness.
It's all static over here for Cure.
It's funny, though, because he doesn't range as far as his opponent, right? Like, he disables a bunch of siege tanks, but eventually the line is so deep that he has to turn around.
The siege tank number is so high that the tanks in the front that are killed are just cannon fodder for the ones in the back that eventually will...
Oh my god, he just disabled so many tanks right there.
Can he actually kill this off and tap out GG? INnoVation takes game 2.
What an awesome, awesome game. I love so much that there was no overlap in units.
Yeah.
They were both going flying units and mech units, and they did not overlap. It was tank BC versus all the other units.
That really exhibited the beauty of the mirror matchup. You know, so many kids bitch and moan about, like, yeah, why are two nations fighting against each other? You look at a game like that, how can you not appreciate that?
Yeah, that was awesome. And it was very cool to see the two different mindsets on how to play this situation. Cure with that kind of build the theoretic endgame comp, and then INnoVation just kind of outmaneuvering.
Yeah.
And really utilizing Disable there at the end.
I mean, that shows you the extent to which you can take that ability. Also, he was able to just move around on the map freely. There was like one moment where the BCs could counterattack. That was it. Anyways, we've got a short break. We come back game 3 with these two players. Do not go away.
울트라 기어로 부드럽게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
야, 우리 진짜 한 판만 더 이기면 돼. 야, 그럼 나 화장실 좀 갔다 올게.
야, 어디가?
금방 와.
자, 이 정도. 20여 명의 학생들이 컴퓨터 게임에 몰입하고 있는 또 다른 PC방. PC방의 전원을 꼽아보겠습니다.
From the beginning. 고고! 핫식스!
거기 들어와. 그 밑에 걔 잡고. 나이스. 나이스. 됐어.
미안해 로우나. 화났어?
미안해. 내가 해줄게.
아, 잠깐 내가 누르면 안 돼. 아, 누르면 안 돼 지금. 자, 펴놓는데 무슨 소리야?
좋은 시간 되세요.
From the beginning. 고고! 핫식스!
울트라 기어로 선명하게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
슈어 김도 이노베이션 20년 아프리카 TV 리거 스튜디오 라이브 2020 GSL 시즌 코드 S 쇼다운.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be going into Game 3. Right now, it's tied up 1-1. It's looking to be a pretty even series so far.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously results, but also just in skill. These guys are both playing very well. I was fascinated by the end game there in that TVT and seeing how INnoVation seemed to have a completely novel approach, actually playing around tanks entirely, which is kind of unheard of in TVT. I mean, the tank is the centerpiece unit in so much of Terran play. Because it outranges everything, you can set up, you can start to pelt them with artillery, and then they have to attack into your defensive position. And, of course, the siege tank also gets the first shot in that regard. But taking advantage of Raven disables to move in, poke, and then get back out without taking damage is so cool.
Yeah, and he even, well, we'll talk about it in a second. We do want to mention about the Cheerfuls guys. Send those in for the finals. We've seen some of them. They are hilarious and amazing.
Yeah.
Some great artists out there. Yeah, email them in.
This it needs to be done before Wednesday, our time. So if you have any design you want to send in, again, email that, and then we'll be showing the ones that the staff selects during the finals. That's as good as we're going to get to a public gathering here.
An internet public gathering.
That's
so,
right.
Check that out. But yeah, you know, even before the Ravens in that game, he was using Hellions to just tank damage. Those things weren't doing anything but taking tank shots so that the Cyclones could get in range to lock on. Really beautiful game there. And even Cure playing a very novel approach to go directly into BC. Normally what happens in mech versus mech is a leapfrogging thing where it's like, okay, well, as soon as we're both mech versus mech, do I have enough tanks that I can get into mass Vikings? And then if I have more Vikings, I can use Liberators to kill tanks and so on and so forth. And then eventually, oftentimes, it gets into BC. This time, Cure was like, no, directly into BC, and INnoVation was like, no, I have this completely alternative setup of completely different units.
I wonder what Cure's take on that last game is, because he was playing well, but he seemed to be almost outthought by INnoVation. INnoVation was exhibiting an incredibly deep understanding of the potential of late game TVT and a mech versus mech, by the way. I want to see, is Cure going to avoid mech this time around? Or does he want to mech again and then try to have a different approach to that? I don't know. We rarely get to cast mech versus mech in TVT and StarCraft 2, so that was a real treat, and it was also very cool to see the twist in who elects to make what and what kind of game it brings us.
Totally. The thing is, I think INnoVation's comp could counter Cure's comp, but there was things that Cure could have done to counter INnoVation back. I think that that's like an endless circle.
Yeah.
Regardless, we're tied up 1-1. Simulacrum is map number 3.
Cure versus INnoVation continues on. Let's find out which player manages to take the lead.
전투 준비 완료. 드래곤 피닉스 게이밍 슈어 김도. 카이지 게이밍 이노베이션 20년.
Okay.
It's been a great series so far.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this.
Both sides going double gas.
It is crazy to see what INnoVation can do in super late game TVT.
Yeah.
You know, he really is such a talented player.
Well, he's so strong. He just, you know, he just had more economy, had more units the entire time.
Yeah.
Here was going for such high technical units, and INnoVation overwhelmed. So, no idea really what we're going to see for the rest of the series, but after both games, I still do feel like INnoVation has the edge, right? Even after game 1, I was saying it. After game 2, I think that shows it again. Even though Cure is very good in making good games here, I think that there's this little bit of extra special something that INnoVation's showing us.
Well, you know, in game 1, it was subtle, but INnoVation was doing really well until he lost 3 tanks in the low ground, and then he really just lost control of that game. And in infantry versus infantry, with tanks, if you lose a lot of tanks, especially right in the mid game, if you lose them abruptly, like all the Marines stim down and just kill them, and they get like maybe 1 or no volleys off, it's really hard to climb back, because then, you know, with medevacs and everything else, you're able to continue to close in on different positions.
Yeah.
We've seen this actually in the PVTs from Parting against, you know, all the Terrans that he's faced, where he just blinks onto the tank, he kills it, and then runs back. Once you lose one of the tanks early on, you've lost an entire position that you can control with artillery.
Yeah.
And the same is true for TVT. It's why, you know, one of the easiest ways, assuming that we're in orthodox TVT, which is Marine tank, an easy way to follow the game is to see who's got more tanks, and are they going to get into a good position with them.
Well, tanks scale better than almost anything. You know,
Right.
we talk about scaling a lot, because especially of like adepts and roaches and things like that, where they don't scale so well. It's like, yeah, you have all these roaches, but the closer we get to max supply, the weaker they become. Same thing with adepts, right? Where it's like, well, you have so many adepts they can't all fire at the same time.
Right.
You know, and the same with roaches. Whereas siege tanks, they fire super far, and the more you have, eventually they just obliterate things. When you hit a critical mass of siege tanks, it will just kill everything that comes into range.
Well, it's always going to fire first, which
Yeah.
means they're more likely to get the kills first.
Yeah.
So they have to lose a chunk of their army to even get in there. Then you're going to have your final attack, or your first attack, I should say. Then they get to fire again. It's just hard to deal with.
So, you know, those numbers are so important, because early on they're like very, very vulnerable, and then later on, suddenly, you know, we've seen games where siege tanks annihilate immortals that are walking in because there's so many of them.
Yeah, if you get enough,
it can occur.
Yeah, if you get enough, it'll even counter the counter to it.
Yeah.
So we have both players moving out with similar armies, and they're moving around each other like two passing ships in the night. I think that Cure is actually going to get in first. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's bad news for INnoVation.
There's
what can he do
nothing
here?
over here.
Yeah, he has to continue the attack the same exact way, but he's just a little bit later.
This is going to get crazy here. The SCVs are going to have to try to fight because there's nothing else, but I think with kiting like this, Cure already doing so much damage. Now, keep in mind, since Cure did the damage first, he's getting the kills off here first.
Yeah, look at this. He's getting, like,
Dude,
every single SCV.
There's one SCV right now here.
Whereas Cure right now, I mean, he's... Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Cure is getting those extra units, so he's actually going to be able to get rid of this.
I think that's GG.
That is GG. That's so funny. They did the exact same build, but Cure got into the base, like 7 seconds before or something, and that was... That made the difference, didn't it?
Well, that's so funny.
That is hilarious.
They did the exact same thing to each other.
Yeah. Well, that shows if you do it a little bit quicker. I mean, that's
Cure.
That's the biggest difference I've ever seen over something that was like 7 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, to see that in a pro match is funny. Well, you know, the 7 seconds is enough extra mining time to make an army to then chase that out, where on the other side he couldn't do anything. I don't even know what to make of that game, really.
There's nothing really to say. I mean, they killed each other with the same build, but one of them died worse.
Yeah. Okay, so very cool. Cure up with a 2-1 lead.
That's right. INnoVation still got the stasis. Nightshade, map 4.
Yeah, let's go to Nightshade. Again, Cure versus INnoVation. Cure up with a 2-1 lead. The winner of this series will go on to the GSL Code S Finals Season 1 to face off against TY. And our game is up. Let's go.
전투 준비 완료. 드래곤 피닉스 게이밍 큐어 김도우. 카이지 게이밍 인노베이션 이신영.
Such a funny way for Game 3 to go. There was no
Well,
real test of skill there.
There's that is a real a rarity.
Yeah.
Where what's funny is they did the exact same thing and also went past each other.
Yeah.
Because they're both going in routes that are you're not as likely to be scouted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess INnoVation maybe trying to tighten things up back at home before he dives in, ends up losing the game. I think you're right. I don't know if that game is going to be representative of what the rest of the games in the series are. That's a very unique situation.
Well, it's
where you're both doing the same thing and somehow you both didn't see each other do it.
Yeah.
And so you both don't have anything to defend with, but one activates a few seconds before the other.
There was almost no actual play there whatsoever. You know, sometimes it's like, I'm not sure exactly why INnoVation hit slightly later. He might have actually been waiting for certain timings, you know? Where you're like, oh, this build leaves his base at this time, so it'll be out of position, or something like that.
It's like you want to start one more building because, once you get in there, you can't really leave your screen.
Yeah, it might be.
And so maybe he had another structure he had wanted to start, and then because of that,
different builds this game, though, which I think is going to give us a much higher quality game. INnoVation going ahead, Command Center on high ground. Cure right into the factory.
Yeah. Now, I think really, guys, we have to look at game 1 and 2 just to think about this series. We won't have a game like that again. Cure gets all the credit, though. I mean, you did get all the kills off earlier. You did snowball the game.
Yeah.
This does highlight how StarCraft 2 is the fastest RTS ever by far. Rarely would 7 seconds. It might have even been less. It might have been like 6 or 5 or something.
Yeah,
but it's like
I just said 7 because that's what it felt like to me. But I don't know. I didn't actually see it go into the base and count.
I totally just stabbed my knee on the corner of our desk. Oh.
Yeah.
Ow.
Poor guy.
We got a new desk this season.
No, this is from last year.
Is this from last year?
Yes.
Dude, we can lie to them. You don't have to just be totally honest, Artosis.
Oh, you're right. No, we got new desks this season, guys. It's awesome.
They got little cup holders on the side, but I just stabbed myself on the cup holder.
Yeah. All right. So this is triple command from INnoVation in his main base. So when it's in your main base, it kind of looks like it might be an aggressive play.
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
so it's
good
the
masking.
greediest that you can get, basically.
Yeah. But, when you do a greedy build like this, it can be exploited. You can be punished.
Yeah, look at this. He's immediately making a bunker because he just does not have very much going on.
One Reaper going across the map now to try to monitor the movements and actions here of Cure. By the way, guys, in best of sevens, if Cure takes this 3-1, it is huge. It is really hard to then imagine INnoVation winning 3 games back-to-back with no flaws.
That is true.
Where if INnoVation wins this... Oh, that was a bit wasteful. Whereas if INnoVation wins this and it's 2-2, then it really is anybody's game. So moments like this are pivotal in a best of 7.
Yeah. Okay, so INnoVation's kind of spread out right now with his Marines. This is such an interesting thing to see, right? Those Marines were waiting exactly for a Liberator, and now he's got to micro against it heavily.
Okay,
but
so he's pulled some SCVs. 5 SCVs are inbound here. And if he can do enough damage in time here, he will punish INnoVation and possibly take this game. Now, INnoVation knows this is inbound. INnoVation has to survive this over the next, I'd say, minute and a half here.
It's hard to imagine him surviving this.
Yeah, this looks very strong.
He's got so many SCVs. He needs Stim to finish. He can't even think about engaging pre-Stim, I would say. And he's got to use like all of his SCVs, basically.
Additional supply depots required.
Does Curie even have any idea what's going on? He's like, why is there a bunker with 1 Marine in it here? What is occurring?
Yeah. Well, that's just enough to soak damage for a little bit here. But again, as the tanks edge in here, and you can see there's SCVs ready to repair. A liberation on the ramp over here. Everything has been pulled, but I don't believe this is going to be enough as SCVs are getting gunned down so quickly. Both the tanks are staying alive. Stim 10 seconds out. Truly an anti-timing here from INnoVation.
Yeah, that is very painful. I think he did have to do something, but he is going to go ahead and lose this game from here. There is absolutely no chance of coming back.
My God, Cure is crushing in this series. It looks like the final line of defense will fall, and that means that INnoVation is now going to lose another game. GG, Cure wins a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, that's a bit unlucky for INnoVation, I would say. This was much decided before the game even started. If Cure had decided like, oh, I'm going to go Reaper expand here or something, INnoVation's build is unquestionably ahead. Instead, Cure decided to tech up immediately, and here he is with another victory.
So crazy. I wonder what's going on in Cure's mind right now. It's got to be, especially the way these games have gone, especially the last two. That was very short.
Very short.
Now INnoVation has to win 3 games in a row. And in a series like this, you have to remember, the player that has this much of an advantage is able to take more risks.
Yeah. I wonder if it's going to change how he's going to play. He can't have expected to be 3-1 at this point.
No, I don't think he was planning on having a 3-1 lead at this point in time. So let's say that Cure wants to do some kind of crazy all-in or something really obtuse that's hard to prepare for INnoVation. He can try it. He can try a straight-up game. It's hard for INnoVation, too, because all of his outs are gone now.
Oh, yeah, no, he has
From here, he has to play a perfect series.
Win.
And we rarely see players come back. We were talking about this in the match with Party and TY, where, like, once you get a 3-0 lead, it's so hard to imagine a 4-1. Well, 3-1's not that different either. Had this been an INnoVation win where it's 2-2 and you're even, totally different story.
Yeah.
But Cure has really put himself in a lead where it'll have to be an incredible series of games, 3 in a row, for INnoVation to win this and then go to the finals.
And still, I don't think it's undoable. If you look at the first 2 games, they were close games. It felt like INnoVation was playing very well. Game 3, exact same build. Cure hit first, got the victory. Okay, cool. This one, a little bit of a build order win.
We're going to a break. When we come back, game number 5 with Cure versus INnoVation.
울트라 기어로 부드럽게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
너무 많이 마셨다.
청정제주 숙취비법과 탄산의 만남. 숙취엔 가스강.
라면이요.
이게
나왔습니다.
잠깐만 들어주세요. 빨리 나와요 이거.
음료 나왔습니다.
From the beginning.
숙취 이제 탄산으로. 청정제주 숙취비법과 탄산의 만남. 숙취엔 가스강.
울트라 기어로 선명하게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
슈어 김도 이노베이션 20년. 아프리카 TV 브레이크업 스튜디오 라이브 2020 GSL 시즌 1 코드 S 쇼다운.
Okay, we're back here at the GSL, and Cure is so close to ending it. But INnoVation is absolutely, as you were saying, Artosis, a player that can come back in a situation like this.
Yeah, some things have gone wrong, especially in these last two games. I don't think these last two games really mean all that much other than the fact that now Cure gets to be on match point. And I mean, well played by Cure, not trying to take anything away from him, but these were not like a super duper high skilled victory. Like game number 2 was like, okay, we're both gonna flex at each other, right?
Yeah.
We're both gonna have a strongman competition.
Let's see how much we can bench.
Yeah, yeah. And INnoVation could bench slightly more in game 2.
Yeah.
Game 3 and 4, it's like, okay, yeah, those did happen. Those games are over now. Let's see game 5. If we get into a regular game, I think that's where INnoVation really can shine.
Look, man, in game 4, INnoVation did take a risk. You're very vulnerable if you have 3 command centers right away.
Absolutely.
INnoVation just came in there and KO'd, or I'm sorry, Cure KO'd INnoVation easy peasy. So I don't know if there's room for risks here. Cure's shown that he's a player that if he gets an edge, he'll come in there with the killing blows. INnoVation may need to rely on heavy macro games, but then again, there's always the opportunity for Cure to do some crazy aggression again. Our game is loaded up. This is game 5, Cure versus INnoVation.
전투 준비 완료. 드래곤 피닉스 게이밍 큐어 김도. 카이지 게이밍 이노베이션 20년.
Quick question, Tasteless. Doesn't INnoVation have a younger brother that's like a League of Legends pro?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Is his younger brother's ID KINnoVation?
I actually can't remember what his younger brother's ID was. I used to know this. Yeah, he's got one brother that's a league pro. I think INnoVation has like 7 siblings or something
he has a lot of
crazy like
siblings.
that.
I would, if I was,
which is very rare out here, by the way.
If I was the old dominant sibling, I would like make everyone else take IDs that were like my, like, you know, his original ID was bogus, right?
That's right.
So like the lead kid would be Bogas, and then the next one would be Bogus, and then the next one would be this one would be the best one, Bogeese. Right? This is the way you should do it.
You're all set with your kids. You have one for each race and then a random player. So
yeah, and I got their IDs all mapped out.
Yeah.
We got our 2 sis, our 3 sis, our 4 sis, and our 5 sis.
Yeah, INnoVation's from a big family. I don't think he's the oldest, so I think he's like the middle, around in the middle.
Is he? Okay.
I believe so.
I know he has like an older sister.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does have a big family. A lot of video game talent in that family, apparently.
That's right. So, in this game, Immediately, we see Cure is going to be expanding onto the low ground. It's a factory pretty quick here for INnoVation. And again, I mean, INnoVation can win this series, but he cannot make any more mistakes. And I think Artosis and I are given a lot of leeway here because it is INnoVation. You know, any other player, it's hard to imagine, but INnoVation is one of the most accomplished StarCraft 2 players of all time, specifically in GSL.
Yeah, and he is so accomplished that he's not someone that's going to just like, oh no, I might not make the finals. He's not made more finals than anyone else has even played in at this point, you know?
Yeah.
So I think he'll just play his best games. He'll just play his best, you know? He was down 2-1. He took a very risky 3 command center build and lost. Whatever, okay, you know?
I think it was a big mistake for him to do that.
Do you? Because if there's a Reaper expand, suddenly we're like, he's a genius.
Yeah, but...
He's a genius!
I think,
look at him blind counter that!
But I honestly think that with INnoVation, he should just play super conservative and just macro up and win that way.
Well,
I think he can take Cure on. I think that the Golden Wall, Cure won there, but that's a very structurally odd map. Where I think if you have more of the maps like this, and this map is more in line with the rest of our maps, you know, I think INnoVation's a little bit better. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, there's got to be a reason why he's choosing the builds that he's choosing. Maybe he doesn't feel as confident as I feel like he should be after seeing what he did in Game 2.
Well, he's doing the aggressive build this game, right? The Siege Shank Marine push with a Viking like we saw in the previous from Cure. So let's see how this goes down. Cure has no vision of this. INnoVation has that tall grass in the center. So this is going to hit Cure before he really knows what's what. He might just die to this just like INnoVation just died to this.
Yeah, that would be in theme with everything else that's happening today. Yeah, that Liberator actually just grazed by the army without seeing it. Oh, dude, this angle's so good!
Yeah. Oh, but he comes too far into the grass. Takes some big tank volleys. But you know what? He got a decent amount of Marines there.
Sure.
And this is problematic.
Well, the Marine count's thinned out, and without Marines, it's pretty hard to hold your ground in a push.
Oh
Meanwhile, these SCVs are getting gunned down one by one. Even the one still mining gas, not a moment of delay in these shots as the SCV death count is up to 8 now. But this is a pretty exposed expansion. The Liberator now going to go over here to the second base.
Yeah, the Liberator really makes this into something. Look at that. He has the landed Viking, has a single SCV. I thought he was going to send that Viking home, actually, to be honest, but doesn't do so.
So there's been more workers killed off over here for INnoVation, but INnoVation's the one with a more dominant push coming forward. Oh my gosh, is the one Marine going to kill this? This will completely stop the damage done here by Cure.
That is a gigantic deal, and INnoVation continuing to push forward. He's lost so many SCVs so far, but he's getting on top of the production.
Yeah, and you know, if he lifts off that factory, he loses the add-on, so he can't make more tanks. I actually think that this may be a fatal blow here, where INnoVation can actually win this game.
Oh, look at this, though.
Wait.
Cure is actually... Oh, Cure actually wins the air battle there, Viking versus Viking, with his clutch repair, and now takes down the Liberator.
He's going to leapfrog the siege tanks up over here in range of the refinery, but he does not have vision of the high ground.
Well, this little Marine comes up, gives him it momentarily. Oh, bad things are happening to INnoVation right now. Cure has taken a bit of a beating, but has way more workers.
Another Viking's out here, but it is not going to, I think, fare well against the other Viking that's up here that can be repaired by the SCVs.
Especially considering he was targeting down the Raven and did not kill it. Everything going wrong for INnoVation here. Cure looking to secure his place in the finals.
INnoVation now abandoning this position. Humiliated after that push, really. He was not able to do the damage he needed to do. Workers now, it's 29-15 with Cure in a very clear lead. He doesn't have his expansion up yet, but I think that's fine. He's going to lift off and go there now. And I'm even surprised that INnoVation sieged up out here. I think this is clearly not...
He's looking to catch anything he can.
But I think that's really a lost cause at this point in time. I mean, yeah, Cure definitely just has enough momentum to produce that he can just come out here and brush that off.
Yeah. It's looking impossible for INnoVation right now.
It really is.
He's just got so little. He took so much damage from that Liberator. Cure lined up with his Hellions and got a lot of Marines in that early part of the game. just many things have gone very well for Cure here. He's played a nice game.
Okay, so now what? I mean, Stim is on the way here for Cure. He's held off the rush. He's got 3 racks. He's got plenty of production. You have to remember that with both sides having 2 command centers, and it doesn't look like there's any attacks inbound here for INnoVation, at least not for a while. This means Cure should just be able to stay on top economically. As long as he doesn't stop making SCVs, I don't see what's going to slow him down. That also means he'll get more production facilities up. That also means he should have the first opportunity to attack here, which would lead me to conclude that INnoVation has to have really good defense in the near future, or he's going to lose this game.
Yeah. I don't know how you come back, even with great defense, because with Stim finishing up for Cure, at minimum, he's going to have complete map control for almost forever, right?
It would seem like it.
So, like, if you can't attack and you can only defend,
yeah,
Cure can kind of do whatever, right? He can take 3 bases right now if he wants. There's nothing INnoVation can do about that.
Yeah, you're completely correct. INnoVation, again, opting with aggression at the start of this game. It's very interesting to see how he's doing this. You know, in some of the other games he had in GSL, this season specifically, he brought out some very unique builds that were kind of not what we're used to seeing. I know that people tend to joke about INnoVation being more robotic, but he came in here with a lot of creativity. And that's how he managed to get to the Final Four of GSL. But in this series against Cure, everything seems to bounce off of Cure.
Yeah.
Okay, here we have the first real attack here, and I believe that there's nothing in the main.
Yeah.
Or there's Marines coming here now, but remember, Stim is done, and it is not done for INnoVation. Only Cure has Stim.
Yeah, this is really bad right now. Loses 5 more SCVs. He was just catching up to the number he needs on the 2 bases. He's going to try some counter-harassment. We'll see what he can get done.
This is a cheap and safe way to try to slow your opponent down on their side. You just chuck an auto turret out here. He'll probably do 1 here and then another inside the main.
Yeah, it's something at least, right? Look at that. That's actually 4 SCVs.
5 even. Oh. At this point in time, you really got to take what you can get. And I'll tell you what, man, it basically worked out because their worker count is now even.
Yeah, and that is kind of a big deal in a way. In fact, INnoVation even has more workers now, but a big part of it as well is when those workers died. And the earlier workers die in the game, the more influential that is for the flow of everything. And you can see that in just the upgrade speed of Cure, the production facilities. He's just got more of them right now. His army supply is a lot later. This is all just because he killed the workers earlier.
And it looks like Cure's going to continue to go for a control game here. He's pushing out. He's confirming that there's no third base, and he has every intention to make sure there's never going to be a third base. Now, in a moment like this, we have to imagine INnoVation probably itching to try to stretch out on the map. And what Cure wants to do is dive in here. But if this is spotted, okay, he needs to insta-unload that. He does not lose anything. Beautifully done.
But a good catch by INnoVation, right?
A misstep there, man. He loses 2 or 3 of those medevacs. He doesn't get the drop-off, and suddenly INnoVation's in a pretty substantial lead. Very good defense by INnoVation. And Cure backs off. Now, Cure is still ahead, guys. He has 3 bases. He has a bigger army. He has more upgrades. But any misstep, like we almost saw Cure do back there. Let's say that the medevacs are gunned down. They don't get to unload. That's a free win there for INnoVation.
Well, that's a lot of army supply.
Yeah, it would at least even the game out. But, I mean, taking a free victory like that in a fight on the map is huge. Now we see the third base about to be taken here by INnoVation. It is in a location where we're seeing these tanks over here. This little spot can be a foothold to launch an attack on this third base that's soon to be.
You think he'll take that third or the third above?
I think he's going to take that third.
I think you're
we
right.
saw the CC
he's
landing
floating
there.
towards it. Yeah. Okay, well, Cure's still in a good spot, bringing more and more units up. Oh my gosh, this is going to be really... I think that INnoVation has to abandon this base and just go with the other one.
Additional supply depot.
Well, is Cure going to commit here?
I don't know. The tanks are actually placed reasonably well here from INnoVation. If you can get a nice edge, it might work out. But look, with those Vikings, with those... Oh my God, the
so
Ravens
he's going to draw
as well.
some attention over here. Oh my God. Okay, 1 medevac is taken out, another is disabled and then shot down.
And another one too! Oh my God, INnoVation, just beautifully done, but is that enough? Cure still gets a decent amount of units out. Also has those Stim Marines at the natural going to work.
It looks like now this small army is marooned over here and soon to be executed by the remaining units over here for INnoVation. Now, there's still some infantry over at the natural expansion. We have 9 kills, 10. The number continues to rise. But that was a huge loss for Cure. Cure had basically taken his advantage and built it up to this moment. In a matter of seconds, it seemed almost impulsively, decided to pick up and dive into the heart of INnoVation's base, where he was basically fell into a trap. The medevacs were disabled. They could not unload. He surrounded it. He killed it off. And now INnoVation, at least on paper, appears to be ahead. But there's still more room for attacks here. I think INnoVation, though, similar to Game 2, his patience is paying off.
Yeah, well, he was forced into a patient stance here because he took so much damage in the early game.
All INnoVation has to do to win is just get really behind early on and not die, and then stay in the game a long time, and he's got this.
That was a bit of a throw there from Cure. The thing is, he was trying to end the game. Because if all that stuff unloads, the game is his, right? He goes to the finals.
Yeah.
And that... I mean, that sounds tempting, right?
Yeah,
you want to go to your first finals? It's like, well, all I need is for this stuff to unload.
Maybe I could just end it right now, and if he's not ready, I win.
Yeah, and he stemmed Marines in and tried to draw his attention elsewhere, like you pointed out, but INnoVation was too quick for him. And now suddenly we're looking at a game that's, I mean, it's pretty even. Look at these upgrades. They're very close. Look at these supplies. They're identical.
And here's what I got to say about this. It does seem like if INnoVation and Cure are even Artosis, that means INnoVation is ahead.
It might. We're going to see about that in a moment here. INnoVation stemming down, pushing back this small harassment force, getting ready to set up his 4th base. Ooh. Cure. I mean, I see that he has a 4th command center almost done, but here's the thing. He has, oh my god, he's actually stemming and running into here.
Well, there's only tanks here. It looks like the infantry is going to show up a little bit later.
You know, tanks are pretty good.
Yeah, they are. It's funny because...
like, what did he kill there? A couple Marines and a tank?
He killed a tank and damaged the hull on some of the other tanks.
I got to tell you, if Cure doesn't go to the finals, he's going to regret this game for the rest of his life.
Oh, for sure, man. To impulsively dive in the main like that. It was needless, too.
Even that move we just saw.
You don't have to attack him, guys. If you're ahead like that, you can keep expanding. They got to figure out...
And he's playing so timidly. Like, he could have built that on location. He's had map control the entire time.
He's being a captain careful here. When I think...
Well, he's both trying to end the game and trying to be careful. That doesn't those two things don't even match.
Yeah, he needs to... I think, frankly, a couple minutes ago, he should have been dominating the map and keeping the pressure on. He really gave up any control he had of the game with that big drop in the main. Before that, INnoVation was staying back. He was defensive. He was slow to expand. I think you keep that army roaming. You keep them searching for any opportunities to hit, because that was a blind dive into the main, too.
Yeah.
That was not a moment where he said, oh, okay, this is...
He was just like, you know what? I think I can get past all this. I think I can end the game.
Yeah.
And,
he YOLO'd it.
The way that he's playing right now isn't really cohesive with what has happened in the game. The decisions he's making one to another are not really cohesive together either. Yeah, I do not like the way that Cure is playing this right now. Hopefully he can slow it down and kind of bring the game back into his control a little bit, but what I'm looking at from INnoVation, look, he's a step ahead. Right now you see Cure adding more barracks. He's like, you know what I need more of? More Marines. Whereas INnoVation is saying, you know what I need more of as we hit max supply? Higher tech units. He's going to take control of the air. He's going to use things like Vikings and Liberators to be able to actually push around siege tanks and slaughter Marine armies.
That being said, it does seem like map control is still going to Cure. I think INnoVation's staying conservative. I think in some sense, especially with how Cure's behaving, INnoVation might almost be hoping that Cure just keeps attacking in, because every time Cure attacks in, he just loses more army. Okay, we have another attack. This is the same tanks.
Yeah, the same 3.
Yeah.
I hope he didn't even repair them. I
Yeah.
hope they're just sitting there like, nah, we like our scars. All right, INnoVation going for a counter here.
And this is a naked expansion. There's nothing defending this whatsoever, so I think he's just going to, he's going to kill the SCVs and then kill the CC.
Oh, man.
Oh,
good
boy.
damage here.
Later.
Now he's going to show him how to unload in a main
He's like,
base.
watch this. This is how I unload. Oh.
I'm not sure if this is the greatest attack from INnoVation here, but it's, you know what? Maybe it is.
It's the greatest attack.
It is the greatest attack. You're right. I'm sorry. Because then he kills the Vikings that were behind him. Cure F2ing back into his main.
Leave. He's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Goes kills another command center.
Yeah.
He's going for Ravens at this point. He's about to have his 3-3 done. INnoVation really taking control of this game.
Now, with Cure denying that drop, chasing it away, it looks like he wants to attack it again here. But INnoVation's actually ahead on all upgrades, by the way. He literally is...
I wonder if this game is going to make Cure's mentality exploded. That's my real question. All right, Cure with a gigantic amount of Marines actually getting in. A nice concave on top of the siege tanks.
Yeah, that's
but
upgrades.
Still plenty for INnoVation.
Yeah,
splatters it. Has 1 million Vikings in there. 1 million Vikings.
That army went through a stump grinder. I mean,
it really did.
He could not have had a better arc, a better spread, and everything still died. Again, though, you know, upgrades really matter. They're just now Cure seems to be catching up. And I don't know, man. Cure's like gonna go even further forward. I mean, the supplies really do tell the story here.
Yeah.
He's gonna keep pushing with less.
Well, he's looking for non-existent holes right now.
Yeah, he's walking into the jaws of the beast, Artosis.
Yeah. Okay.
And I believe this is an easy 1-2 punch for INnoVation to just finally push across the map, do some damage of his own.
Yeah, look at this, the Vikings spreading out, pushing back those medevacs. Complete air domination, complete ground domination from INnoVation.
So what now from INnoVation? Does he want to give up this position or try to push even further forward? Remember, guys, the tanks can actually fire farther than their vision. So the Vikings or the Ravens or the medevacs, but usually the Vikings, allow for an easy spot where they're having to scan you to see where your tanks are, but the air units for you could just spot and allow you to set up pretty easily and stay ahead.
It's got a few Ravens here. A lot of options open for INnoVation. Cure walking around the other side of the map. Sensor towers are really sticking out right now, so it's hard to actually get in anywhere without your opponent responding quickly.
Right.
So you're sending one Marine at a time, you start kind of making those red blips on the mini-map. Maybe you can overwhelm INnoVation in that regard a little bit so you can pop in somewhere else.
Okay, takes out the tanks. I like what Cure's trying to do, but it seems like INnoVation is in beast mode right now. I mean, he's just not having any of it, you know. And look at this, the Vikings can come in here. They can then pick off the medevacs.
That was good pickoffs, though, by Cure as well. He did get rid of the Ravens, which are definitely an important late-game unit.
So the symbiosis between the Liberators and the siege tanks is huge. You can set up a liberation zone and then put tanks behind it. And if any ground units try to run underneath to shoot down the Liberators, they're going to get wiped out by the your siege tanks. And really what the goal of the Liberators is to just inch into range of the enemy tanks.
Yeah, you just push them back?
Yeah, safer to use your Liberators than your tanks.
But Liberators are terrible against Vikings, so having that air control is a crucial aspect of this.
Right.
More starports going up right now for INnoVation. Cure just staying on Marine, medevac, tank. I think at this point it's the right choice. He can't really catch up on the other air units.
Okay, he's pushed this back a little bit. I think with the siege tank line set up over here, I don't believe he can get any further.
Should be able to keep him back. But look at this. Kind of a nice move here from Cure. He's in between two bases, doing what he can. He gets one of the command centers. It's one of the less important things there, but it's something at least.
All right, these Vikings can immediately wipe out these... kind of a funny moment there. So, INnoVation is pushing back. He's fighting hard. It does seem like Cure is just barely on the cusp of death here.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many moments where, like, if Cure doesn't defend this perfectly, he's going to be in trouble. I don't think INnoVation's going to push through this central area. It probably would behoove him to try to go over here to the top. Pushing through the upper left side of the map and then hanging to right.
Well, I kind of like, in a way, because INnoVation's army right now, as long as he's attacking the army of Cure, he's backing Cure up into his expansions because he's got that air control, which is so critical. Look at this. Just sieges up, you have to run your tanks. And then he moves his tanks up. He's just, you know, he's leapfrogging forward and there's no stopping him, it looks like. Okay, finally a very nice move here from Cure. He is going to pick off this expansion.
He does take that CC out. That's a pretty big victory there for Cure. But he cannot attack further than that. Again, INnoVation with air dominance It basically means that any position that Cure claims on the map, especially if it's in INnoVation's territory, he can't keep it.
Yeah.
And although Cure's doing a really good job, I mean, here's another little victory taking out this command center, it does seem like he's hemorrhaging a decent chunk of his army.
But if he keeps killing bases, maybe this gets turned around. You
It
know,
might.
he's actually killed a lot in those last few moments, and he's slowing down the attacks of INnoVation. INnoVation hasn't actually killed a base in quite some time. Not breaking that one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Kira is keeping his own bases and eliminating some of INnoVation's. Still, though, INnoVation just has a more cost-efficient set of units.
Yeah, Cure actually has way more of the map now, which is kind of crazy. These bases that I thought were pretty much insured for INnoVation the whole time have been denied. But how much was sacrificed over here for Cure to get this position? Because, okay, GG, I was going to lead up to it, but yeah, man, I mean, that was a lot he gave up. And after he took out all those bases, INnoVation with a maxed out army can roll across the map and squish Cure.
Yeah.
And now, again, you were saying it, Artosis, but let's point it out again. He's thinking about that drop in the main. Cure basically had a very solid early game until he gave it up for a risky drop that was shut down, that unleashed INnoVation on the map. He was able to consume so many resource locations. Cure fought back hard, but basically overextended, burnt out, had no army left to defend.
Yeah, he definitely made some mistakes there when he was so far ahead. You know, I get it, though. I do understand. Like, this one move that's so easy to do and probably has a reasonably high percentage chance to work can put you into the finals. But it also can make the game even or slightly advantaged to your opponent. He tried that move. It didn't work out. INnoVation is back in this. It's 3-2, and we're playing our biggest map, Obsidian.
Right now, if Cure wins, it's all over and he escapes to the finals. If INnoVation wins, we're tied up 3-3 and we will get a Game 7 on the map Zen. The winner of this series will go on to face off against TY in the GSL Code S Season 1 Finals.
전투 준비 완료. 드래곤 피닉스 게이밍 큐어 김도우. 카이지 게이밍 인노베이션 이신영.
Here we go, Tasis. Let's see it. Can INnoVation bring us to a Game 7? Double barracks play from Cure.
Yeah, 2 racks.
Well, it is interesting. I don't think it's a bad build. But they're cross spawns, so it's hard to imagine him getting anything done. It is a gigantic map, like aggressively getting anything done.
Yeah, this is a huge map.
Especially when you're cross, it's just like you are forever away from your opponent.
It can make it hard to end games here.
Most SCVs die of old age before they get to scout your opponent.
Cross spawn scout here. So let's see how this actually does. Cure opting in for a little bit of aggro here to start this game off. Now again, man, Cure had taken such a lead. And by the way, some of these games have been very unusual.
Yeah.
Actually, most of them have been.
Yeah, they actually, you're right. All of them have been unusual.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy if we get to Game 7.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
This has been one of the wildest TVTs ever.
I still love that mech game. That was so much fun.
Oh, that was really a special game to watch.
Truly a treat.
It does seem like overall, though, if it's infantry with tanks, fighting infantry with tanks, it seems like INnoVation knows how to stay ahead. He always has a superior Viking count. He never seems to overextend. Or if he does, he somehow gets back out even.
Yeah.
And Cure's doing very well, but it just does seem like maybe 60% of the time INnoVation's better.
Yeah, so In TVT in StarCraft 2. So I default. This is my opinion. I'm very opinionated on StarCraft 2 TVT, as I am on everything truly. But the person who makes Vikings is generally the better player, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's an actual long-term play. Look at this. It just smashes.
That was terrible.
Yeah. I guess he got a scout of what's going on, so that's something at least, and he has a bunker, so he's not just going to die. But anyways, the player who's making the Vikings, that's the play where you're like, I'm going to outplay my opponent in kind of a... It's like a longer game.
I'm going to control territory better.
Yeah, and they're going to scale really well. The players that just make lots of Marines and medevacs are trying to like run around their opponent, pull fast ones, things like that, right? And, I mean, you can see it, like TY, for instance, is a Viking guy. Well, hold on, we actually have this attack going on. It's doing reasonably. I mean, 3 SCVs and a few units, not too bad for those early game units. But yeah, you know, I think that that's going to be an amazing battle if it's INnoVation versus TY in the finals, because that's like two players that are more inclined to make the Vikings, to go for that longer play, that play that's more exacting, rather than running around the map and being like, oh, you're not over here, but I am. I got you. Look, at your command center's gone because I have so many Marines. And now they're in medevacs getting away.
It's true, though. I mean, these guys that get enough Vikings, it's just, okay, I'm going to be absorbing their attacks so effectively. And this really starts to propel you further and further forward, right? I mean, when you're taking out medevacs, you take out their Vikings, you hit their Ravens, you hit their Liberators. It's like, okay.
Well, you get your own Liberators. You start pushing back like we saw from INnoVation.
How many, important units are coming out of the starport, especially in a late game? If you get that balance thrown off, then they can't be dropping you. Then they can't be winning fights with tanks. Then their Liberators are useless.
Yeah. It's the very, very top tier of Terrans generally does like to make the Vikings. And then you have this whole tier below them, players more like Bunny or Kier or something, which are very strong pro gamers. But they're more likely to just do things like we saw last game. They're like, look at how many medevacs I have. Let's load them up. Let's see if we can kill you. And then things go wrong. All right, we have this Raven flying in from INnoVation. Throwing down an auto turret. Might have overextended a bit.
Is he going to be able to get this?
Look at that. That's a beautiful.
Really nicely done, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. He's going to get another auto turret off.
So now he can go for a drop here. I think this was probably already basically revealed when he had that chasing the Raven, but let's see if INnoVation's ready.
INnoVation, by the way, he's up in SCVs. He's got the very quick third command, and he's got double eBay against single eBay. So just some things to point out.
Let's also not forget that in that last game, INnoVation had lost so much, he was actually attacking into Cure. Cure barely held it, and then we went into a crazy long macro game. Pretty special. Now, an auto turret here can kill the SCV that's making this, and this just really slows everything down in general.
Right.
Okay.
Nice little poke.
Little scuffles on both sides. Yeah.
Third command center coming up for Cure. Needs to get that back online. Does he have? Did he send the SCV up to continue it?
I mean, I'd hope so.
I don't think he did yet. I think it's just getting up there now.
Yeah, I think you're actually right. There's something going up there. It does look like it's an SCV.
Yeah, okay, now it's building. Definitely need to get that up ASAP. All right, so I think as far as these two matchups go, I really do prefer INnoVation's play, right? Quicker E-base, quicker third base, and cross spawns on our biggest map. Seems like that's the way to go. Kier right now, though, he does have map control in a certain way, right? Like, he's the one that's out roaming about a little bit. Sending a couple medevacs out to the other side. INnoVation just kind of flying around, though.
All right, 1-1 finishes up here for INnoVation. It looks like he is itching to hit the bottom. It cannot be emphasized enough how large this map is. The travel time, even with medevacs and boost, is insane.
Yeah, it's pretty
now, while this drop's coming out over here, we have an even bigger ground push on the other side of the map here. Kira's going to be attacking INnoVation, but this attack will activate itself first to stem here. And he can actually kill the tank before the tank even gets a single shot off.
Yeah. Look at this, just eating
Oh my
through
God.
the SCVs.
This is already 20 SCV kills.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kier has basically his whole army out on the map, kind of like in the middle towards 12.
Jesus, man, that's 23 SCV kills. He killed 2 tanks. This is still
It's
here.
not over. Yeah.
And let me tell you something. You know how long it takes to get back home?
He can, really. Oh, he just turned around just now.
He is
Okay.
now going to go home.
I think Kier is...
Game 7.
Yeah, Game 7 is coming.
Inbound.
Yeah, look at this. He just lost even more SCVs.
Oh my God, this is like a nightmare right now. If you're Cure, having been up 3-1, and now we're going to go to 3-3, and this was like, by the way, the most elementary attack ever. No disrespect to either side, but this is really straightforward.
Well, it's very
The medevacs-
basic.
Yeah,
Very basic.
You drop with, and a lot of players will do the 2 medevac drop, but yep, GG, he just taps out. Cure is too busy trying to roam a map that is too big, and when you're that far away from home, there is nothing to defend. He also had some questionable moves, sieging up in front of the Marines. The siege tanks literally never got a shot off.
Well, I'm not even sure what he's looking to do. I guess he's looking for INnoVation to maybe be too greedy and like float a command center out or build one on location.
Look at INnoVation. He's very comfortable with how this is going. I think he knows he's got Cure psychologically cornered here.
If INnoVation just doesn't die in the first 5 minutes of this next game, he's
think
at
so.
an advantage to take it.
Yeah. And this is a scary moment here for Cure. He did it, but the games have all been so weird. And a lot of that last game that we just saw Cure lose was all his fault. He wasn't really playing the map or the player the way he should have been playing.
I agree with that assessment.
I think Cure may be interested in avoiding a super long game. Shot himself in the foot. And now we go to the final map.
All right, Zen it is. Let's see who's going to take this home and go to the finals. Will it be Cure's first or INnoVation's 5th?
This is the last game of the day. Cure versus INnoVation, a Terran versus Terran. The winner goes on to the finals of the GSL Code S to face off against TY, and ultimately we will crown a champion, the best player in 2020 for now. Let's see who takes it. Our game is ready.
전투 준비 완료. 드래곤 피닉스 게이밍 큐어 김도우. 카이지 게이밍 인노베이션 이신영.
Okay.
All right, we got the gas first from Cure, the 2 gas from INnoVation. Oh, Cure actually goes with the
both
same
going
gas too.
mirror build so far.
Yeah, pretty close, pretty close. See where they go with that. Yeah, man, it's... I mean, Cure has done some really nice things this series and had some very nice games. But after the last couple, it's like, oh...
Well, it does seem like INnoVation is just more fluid in the matchup overall.
Yeah.
You know, he's, I mean...
Well, Cure picked up a couple of, honestly, easy wins.
Well, like
games 3 and 4.
Yeah, the game where he just counterattacked.
He had
They both attacked
two
each
where
other.
his first attack just killed him, right?
Yeah.
For a couple different reasons in those 2 games, but those are not like grinding out a longer game with a ton of different movements around the map, and those are the games that INnoVation is generally winning.
It's not a positional game that maybe goes on for 20 minutes where there's like 30 really important decisions you have to make as far as controlling the map, and do you drop or do you not drop?
It's a very big difference.
And I think that's really where INnoVation shines, is these complex macro games where there's so many positions, so many moments where you want to try to dive in and maybe hit this location or be patient and try to let them attack into you. And that's really where INnoVation is quite masterful. Now, in this game, we have Cure hiding a starport. It's over at 3 o'clock on the map. And INnoVation is taking a quick command center on the low ground. Now, This might be Banshees. It could be a medevac.
His Reaper is going in the general direction of the starport. If he scouts at starport, it is not good news for Cure here.
What a funny moment here. It could have actually been chased into that too.
Yes. If he instantly responded to that, I think he would have scouted the starport likely.
Yeah. He would have just driven him there and been like, okay. So this is a pretty technical attack, and I stand corrected. It's not a Banshee, it's not a medevac, it's a Liberator. And so we're going to have a small ground force of Reapers and Hellions here to hit the front, but then the Liberator can come in here.
I like this because Cure is actually positioning so many of his units forward that you're just thinking about, okay, how do I make sure that this doesn't hurt
And let's not forget how this looked in a previous game where it was Hellions and Reapers coming in here. Now we have the additional Liberator coming in, and this is a brilliant strategy come from Cure, which could just throw INnoVation off. And if INnoVation doesn't have the right balance of everything, he will lose. Now, that being said, already a little bit of damage eaten on those Hellions.
He doesn't have anything that shoots up at the moment. Now, he's actually circling around. It looks like he's going to flank this from a funny position and actually be able to take a good fight against this army, but he doesn't have anything to hurt that Liberator.
And this, oh, hold on. There's a Cyclone coming out here now. It just now pops out.
Oh, this Cyclone is so clutch here.
And it takes out the Liberator.
Awesome play. And 4 SCVs went down. We're even in SCVs right now.
Yep. Some of the Hellions have escaped back home. They're being repaired. There's a Raven being made now, too. But I'll tell you, I think that Liberator, the idea was there, but the Cyclone comes out just in time, just in case.
Yeah. It's a very good thing on him that he built that. If he had done something like built a Hellion, the damage would have been giant.
Here comes some Reapers going into the main here of Cure. There's a blind spot, but it looks like he's ready anyways.
Yeah, brings those units home.
Meanwhile, the Raven's going to come up. He can throw an auto turret down here. We've already seen this be pretty cost efficient. Doesn't seem like there's very much back at home for INnoVation to try to help defend this either.
All right, throws down that auto turret. And looks like he will get a couple of SCVs at minimum.
This is a well-placed auto turret because it can hit both SCVs that would be mining in the gas. Or both the gases, I mean.
Gets a couple kills off of it.
Second Raven inbound. Now, this is a good harass, but it also sets you up to be in a healthy position in the late game as well. Those Raven disables are extraordinarily helpful against tanks, allowing you to break positions that are otherwise unbreakable.
Yeah, the Raven in general is just such a great support unit right now. Good for harassment as well, as we see, because INnoVation sending his out also. Stim on the way right now for INnoVation, also getting his third command. Getting ready to expand that economy a little bit more. I like this spike here. Flies in with that one first, kind of draws attention there. Comes in, drops off another one.
The auto turret's a funny unit because it doesn't last that long, but it has enough HP that it doesn't get killed immediately either.
Yeah.
So you basically get a lot of free kills as you chuck it out there.
And even that, it's like he slows down the building of the third command.
Yeah.
50 mana? Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, it's fine. Another turret's thrown down here, killing off the SCVs.
A couple that were
Does it always auto-target the SCV building something? Because it always seems like whenever they throw it in there, I actually don't know, but it just seems like whenever it's chucked in, it will always default to a unit building something over a unit mining.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It could be pro gamers targeting, or
could be.
Never even thought.
All right. Well, that's just the most exciting part of this series.
Yeah, that's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like I would have thrown down the auto turret, but okay.
Yeah.
Do what you want with the last year.
I've made my peace now. Now you can kill me when the disable wears off.
He's trying to talk to him. No,
yeah. Come on, we're both humans here. All right, again, the auto turret getting some good kills off over here. 4 more kills. And now Cure's going to move out on the map. Cure does have superior army supply, but let's see if he can get a superior position over here on INnoVation. INnoVation now, I think this might be the most unfortunate time to do it, too. It looks like he's setting up a third base here, although that may change as he sees this army. He scans it and notices it's repositioning.
Well, thank heavens he had that Marine out there, right?
Yeah.
If he had not seen that, he could have lost that command center pretty easily.
And look at this. Cure's actually backing into the position he was in before. He faked retreating. And he's going to come in here. It's going to be 3 tanks, Ravens. I'm sorry, Vikings and a Raven. against what looks to be enough Ravens that he could probably disable all the tanks if he wants to.
There are these Vikings here, though. You have to be a little bit careful.
2 more auto turrets are going to be thrown down here. This could happen as a fight starts up over at the third. Keep in mind, Pure's on 2 base where INnoVation's taking a third right now. This is a very specific point in the game where something's going to go either way. And it looks like those disables do come down. And Cure is moving in an immediate unsiege there.
Very quick indeed. Some turrets coming down as well. The Vikings doing their best to pick everything off. 2 of the siege tanks lived through all of this, but they do siege up right where the Marines can get them. The landed Vikings helping out as well and take siege from Cure. Can he do it?
Cure has done so much damage over here. He's separated the third and the second. There's no way for INnoVation to take this attack on right now.
Those Cyclones just did some heavy lifting for Cure's army, eliminating some of these Vikings. Really, INnoVation's just trying to use his air advantage, but it's being knocked out.
And now only 3 tanks remain against the 4 here from Cure. Cure beginning to close it even further. The last 2 tanks go down. And now it is INnoVation on 1 base to Cure's 2.
The Viking account is now at 1-0, it looks like, with Cure in that lead. He's got 5 tanks against just the 1 very defensive tank. He's mining from his natural, whereas INnoVation is not. And Cure might be going to his first finals here.
INnoVation needs to get an expansion up soon or he will dry up and be out of options in this game, getting him knocked out of the final 4. And Cure is not slowing down. Another artillery shot and the last tank is destroyed, giving Cure complete and total reign over this area.
Uh-oh, a single Viking left here to go against the Liberator, one of the only things keeping INnoVation alive in this game. Cure continuing to get that damage out. Oh no,
the
siege
last
setup.
Liberator's gonna go down. Another siege tank sieges up, but there's too much artillery here for Cure. And I do believe this is the killing blow.
Oh man, look at this. He's getting up that ramp. INnoVation with almost no units left. The SCVs get pulled. This is his final chance.
We can see now SCVs coming down here trying to drive this away, but it's not enough. The Viking gets microed away as well as the SCV's gonna surround.
Oh, and that flying unit giving him enough vision. This is very tough for him to do anything here. Runs and stims 2 Marines in the middle. Lands a Viking as well. INnoVation might end up breaking this army, but no. Cure bringing up a few more units, and that should be enough. No workers left for INnoVation.
And as you can see, there's just no options remaining. GG, Cure takes it, defeating INnoVation and going to the finals against TY of Season 1 of the 2020 GSL Code S.
I have chills right now. An amazing game from Cure. I'm so happy for him that he won a game that looked like that. That was a well-earned victory. Some great moves from Cure, showing that he belongs in the finals.
He's done it. He's overcome that hurdle. He's gone to the next level, and now he will have the ultimate challenge of his career, taking on TY in the finals. INnoVation, a 3-time GSL Code S champion, has been defeated in a matchup that usually brings him the most success in StarCraft 2. His TVT is just phenomenal. But today, in a series of, frankly, very unusual games, Cure has come out on top. We will now have an interview and see how Cure's feeling. Andy, go ahead.
Wow, what a neck-and-neck match that was. And Cure locks in as the final player to play in the finals. Congratulations. Thank you. Wow. I'm sure the feeling of euphoria is coming to you right now. How do you feel?
3대1까지만 해도 이제 빌드가 너무 잘 맞물려가지고
Well, and it's a 3-1 score. My strategies started working well, so I thought I would be able to beat INnoVation. But after that reversal, all my bad memories started coming to me. And I had so much pressure playing in the last game. And my performance hasn't been that satisfactory today. So I'm a little embarrassed. But I'm really happy that I regained my poise until the very end. As you said, the score was 3-1 and then it became 3-3. In an evergreen where you had so much lead, you lost that game. You know, if you're not like a veteran, it's really easy to be shaken in the game. So how were you able to grab your mentality again?
그 5번째 판 역전 당하고
Well, after
진짜 천천히
losing the game,
계속 위생각으로 게임을
you know, I
했는데
just try to keep my mentality as much as possible.
빌드라서 좀 흥분이 가라앉지가 않더라고요.
And you know, I went for the aggressive builds, and I couldn't really resist it.
마지막 경기도 진짜 망했다 결국에.
And in the last game, I thought I screwed up, and I was like, I'm gonna be bogged down by INnoVation again.
그래도 마지막까지 좀 기회를 계속 생각을 계속 해가지고.
But I really didn't want to lose this opportunity, so I maintained the mindset until the very end.
결실 같습니다. 2013년 데뷔하고 정말
After your debut in 2013,
누가 제일 많이
this is your first finals, and who mostly comes into your mind right now?
집에서 하다 보니까.
After getting out of Jin Air and practicing at home, you know, my parents really come to my mind.
나를 지지해주고 또 믿고 기다려주신 부모님이 많이
And your parents are definitely instrumental to your win today. And I'm sure you had some hardships on the way as well.
생각이 엄청 많아졌어요.
Yes, after leaving the team, I had many thoughts.
성적을 제대로 못 낸 선수로.
And I thought I would be remembered as a player who never really made any results.
시간을 좀 많이 가졌는데 좀 새로운 팀 들어가면서 마음 다잡고.
And having my own time and joining a new team,
멘탈 추스리고 열심히 해보자라고.
I regained my mentality, and then I set a new mindset. And I'm glad that the result is good today.
김도우 선수의 생애 첫 GSL 결승전.
First GSL final score, and this one has been a phenomenal TBT. But next up, it will be another TBT match against TY in the caster desk right now. So do you have anything to say to TY?
일단 오늘 경기는 좀 오늘 경기 보고 살짝 웃었을 수도 있을 것 같아요.
I'm sure TY might be underestimating me after my performance today, but in the finals, I'm going to prepare thoroughly and deliver a good performance.
자, 이렇게 김도욱 선수가 우승까지 거머쥐며 파란을 일으킬 수 있을까요?
And Kyor, will you be able to lift up the trophy this season? Anything you want to say before you go, Kyor? Well, I'm really desperate for this win. And I scrimmed against so many players. And they helped me so much. I'm really grateful to them. And since this is my first GSL finals, I hope this becomes a good memory to me. Once again, congratulations, Kyor. Thank you.
How crazy is this season, man? We've got Kyor in the finals of CODES. I mean, our show is 10 years old, and sometimes it takes some players longer than others to get to where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the story here with Kyor now.
That's pretty crazy. About 3,000 days since he became a pro gamer.
Wow.
And he's finally... Guys, this shows you, right? When you become a pro gamer, you're already so good and you've already played for so long, and then add 3,000 days onto that, and that's the finals for Kyor.
Yeah.
Don't ever give up.
Don't ever give up. StarCraft 2 is an old game now, which means it's even harder. And, you know, to finally, when people have really mapped this game out this well, to overcome a player like INnoVation is incredible. And let's see how he does against TY.
Yeah. That's going to be a fantastic finals. This was already a great round of 4 match with Kyor against INnoVation. And I honestly think that TY is the best TBT in the world. So I think that Kyor is going to have to bring his absolute A game to be able to fight against TY.
We'll be back in a week from now. TY versus Kyor, another best of 7 for the finals of the GSL CODES. That'll be at 5 p.m. KST. I'm sure most of you are not in our time zone, but to be clear, that's 4 hours later than when we normally start on Saturdays here.
That's right.
So definitely mark it down on your calendar. Make an alert on your phone. That will be in our new studio, as you can see on our screen here. But you can't come. No one can come. But it will be some different camera shots and everything. And when the pandemic is finally over and we can actually have big gatherings again, come down. Not just to the studio we do CODES in, but the new studio we have, which is at Jamshil, just below Lotte Tower, the tallest building in the country. We have, in this case, our finals there. We also host ASL there when ASL is going on, our sister tournament, our StarCraft 1 tournament. So this is going to be cool, and we're going to be crowning a new champion either way.
Yeah, don't forget, you can help us to make the finals an even better event by making some signs and cheerfuls. These are some examples of some great ones that have been sent in, especially that Space Justice one.
Yeah, I like fetal alcohol syndrome martosis in that one.
That's I am a Beavis and Butthead drawing.
That is how big my head is, in case you guys are wondering.
Oh, there's some pictures that actually more accurately depict that we've seen. That
There's
people
one
sent
that's
in.
so funny. We'll be showing these during the finals. However, you have to submit them before Wednesday our time, and it'll be our staff that'll be clearing that, and those will be shown as we cast the finals. It sucks we can't have a live audience, but guess what? It sucks everywhere and nowhere can have a live audience. So we're all suffering together.
Well, you guys can meet up in the chat and have a good time in there. So yeah, send us in your signs. It's going to be a great finals. And that means we have a week without any GSL, I guess, right?
Yep.
6 days at least.
6 days. Too long.
Finals. Just long enough for them to prepare to give us a great match.
That's right. We'll be streaming during those days, though, so you can hang out with us there. And then we're going to be going into another season of GSL. We're just getting started here.
I don't know if we've announced the start date, but
I don't
maybe
think we have the
will at
dates out, but soon you guys will know.
Yeah, it's not too far off. So we won't be without GSL for too long. Thank you for watching, guys. This has been a great day. This has been
I
a
enjoyed the
fantastic
series a
tournament so
lot. It
far.
was very back and forth. You know, we rarely have a 7th game in a best of 7. Statistically, it's rare. Usually it's a 4-2 or a 4-1. So to have a 4-3 is really something.
Yeah.
And look, it would be pretty crazy if Cure could beat TY. I mean, if he beat INnoVation,
yeah.
it's totally possible. The games were unusual for him beating INnoVation here, but I think INnoVation also made some questionable build order openings, putting himself at maybe more risk than he needed to be in. TY, though, is a master planner and also
really
cool
is.
as a cucumber in pressure situations.
He is, but he hasn't won a championship yet.
That's
He's been in
true.
the finals a couple times, wasn't able to take it home, went to Game 7 against Maru. If people recall, that was the closest finals Maru had. And in fact, we were certain that TY was going to win, and like one extra unit for Maru actually won the game. It was insane. What a great finals.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this one can rival that.
And also, TY has been casting GSL now for some time, so this would be pretty insane if he actually wins this tournament. I don't think we've ever had anything like that ever in anything, basically, where the guy hosts the show and then wins the show.
Yeah.
It's a little bit too much.
A little bit too much.
I think we need to nerf him.
He needs to calm down.
He needs to chill
He's making
out.
the rest of us look bad.
And then he's going to go make StarCraft 3, and we're like, okay, buddy. We get it. You're
the guy.
all the StarCraft.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be pretty crazy. I guess Curious then has another day of work for our finals.
Congrats, Tim.
And that's all the time we have, guys. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the games. We love you. Stay safe out there. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are. We'll see you in the finals in 1 week. Bye-bye.